We're going cold
Let's
start.
just talk it out. I'm just kicking it, man. Like just three homies together.
Yeah, it's a good time.
I could have sent you the video, or you have the video, obviously, of
I have
him
it.
doing
Yeah.
the hoagie dance.
Thank you again for that sandwich. I was starving.
Yeah,
Yeah.
brother.
Let's go. All
Come
right.
back to New
Well,
Jersey.
I'm off, and we're starting the show off, and I'm just opening up a Coke for no particular reason. Just had one here sitting, but
Oh, I wish like Herbie would have one
fantastic.
too.
I
Wow.
know.
It's really a shame if I only had one of these solid products.
Oh,
I
only if I
do.
had a Coke
It's
Zero
crazy.
bottle right next to me.
Oh
Hashtag
man,
not an ad. Hashtag could be.
it could be. Oh, that's
Oh,
amazing.
shoot.
I'm assuming we're live, but that
Yeah,
was
we
was
are.
semi-staged that everybody actually happened to have a Coca-Cola product.
Yeah, literally,
Yeah.
it wasn't.
We just
I
have
honestly, I drank my one. I only have one a day because it is. Yeah, I don't drink the 0 1, and I have one sugared beverage. So then I drink water, and then also Yingling the rest of the time.
Well, see, that's
Try to
like
try to balance it out.
if you switch to zero, you can drink as much as you want. I don't know if that's straight fact or a health thing, but
that's what they told me. So I'm gonna
That's where
take
like
it.
the rambling underneath of like the commercial is like, we are not responsible for anything that goes wrong with you.
Oh
Shoot.
gosh.
But yeah.
actually, there's a really funny story behind. Obviously, we're going to be talking about it for a while now. But
Oh yeah.
fun fact, and sorry, I know there's probably an introduction you want to do, but
Yeah.
this was not supposed to be. We're just talking, right?
Yeah, we're just rolling.
Yeah.
This was not supposed to be a Coca-Cola Zero vehicle. I actually had another same family but different product.
Okay.
Yeah, and we'll go on with it.
Yeah.
Oh
well,
shit. Oh yeah, we'll get to
Well,
it.
I just wanted to say, hey, happy New Year's to everyone hanging out in the chat. Already got Chuck. I mean, Chuck doesn't really have a life, so it makes sense why he's here. We got Loco Cereal. What's up, buddy? We got a fun guest on today. We got Faye. We got what? So what's like the nickname? Is it Yogi? Everyone just calls you Yogi. You know,
we
like
have Daniel.
Don't you ever do that.
You're not my mother.
And the funny part is my mom doesn't even call me that. And it's just, all right, quickly. My name's Yogi. I do have a real name. It's Daniel. The whole entire family. I was actually named after Daniel Boone. Why?
Okay.
I don't know. My dad just said I like Daniel Boone, right? The other funny part is, as far as heritage or my background, I'm Filipino and Thai. My dad had my brothers, which are actually full Thai, so different mothers, and they got really cool Thai names. So they got Soropong, Benjapon, and I got Daniel. Chuck just called us three baldies, and I hate that he's right.
I know, right? It's just like, well, he's
gonna be you, Chuck. He's just, he's just a step behind the curve.
Yeah. Don't worry. A couple more years, he'll catch right.
At least we're not ugly. Just kidding. I'm sorry, Chuck. I'm just kidding.
At least my name's not Chuck. Okay, that's all I can say.
Yeah,
it doesn't rhyme with banana fan info.
So the name Yogi actually came from high school because I used to hang around. So where I was predominantly like a bunch of gangsters.
Yeah. Okay.
I hung out with gangsters. I was not in a gang. I never did it. But everybody had a gang name, even if you weren't in one. So the gangsters named me Yogi during lunchtime.
Okay.
And it stuck. And actually, every day, like a new person would hear the name, and it just kept going. And I kept telling people I don't like the name. So for many years, I had the name. And then fast forward to the future, 2014. This time 10 years ago, I started my first industry job at Falcon Tire.
Yeah.
I went into it saying, I got to kill that name. Don't want the president calling me that. Don't want anybody knowing that. Right? So I have my first day. I get the job. I'm at my desk. And my buddy Ian, that works there as well, walks up to my cubicle. And he's like, "Sup, Yogi?" And I was like, "No, no, right? Everybody started catching along to the point where the president, vice president, whatever, were all calling me Yogi at this point. And I'm like, can't beat him, join him. So I literally stuck with the name to this day.
Damn.
I mean,
yeah, professionally, I didn't want the name Yogi. Like that sounds very unprofessional, but in some sense, it actually helped me because if I met you for the first time, and this happens to all of us, I will not remember your name.
Nope.
Oh, 100%. Especially when you're already like dehydrated, dying, and you're, when we're meeting each other most of the time, it's out on the track. We've already been out there for X amount of hours, and it's like, I remember maybe what we talked about, but man, do I forget that first 20 seconds.
Yeah, I honestly, it was probably the same with you guys. I was like, "What's your name again, Charlie?" Like, Nate. No, sorry, Charlie. Anyway,
Chuck's was honestly easy because it's just straight Chuck. How many Chucks in your lifetime have you really met? And then Nate was easy because I've seen him so many times, and then I always thought that he hated me. And yours is obviously easy, straight away, Yogi.
I'll either get Yogi or they haven't seen me in a while. They're like, Bear. I'm like, close.
Yeah.
It's
right church, wrong pew.
Yeah. No, that's funny. But you've been going to FD for how many years now?
15 years. Exactly 15 years.
Jeez,
holy.
Actually, so 2007? Yeah, 2007. I don't know.
The good old days.
Yeah. A long time. So I was just telling Nate when we were offline before we went live is that I had a bunch of car friends. I was into cars. I had a Honda Accord back in the day, which I'm embarrassedly going to say this, which I knew how to power slide very well.
I love how he doesn't call it drifting. He's learned now. He's like, I am not getting roasted.
I know what it was. I used to be the idiot that would steal. I'm sorry, In and Out. Steal their trays. You would run into them because they had to plug the tire.
Yeah.
And then hold e-brake up and just go around the lot. I did it. I admit to it. I'm sorry. But so there was one day where there's this beautiful view, and I will take you guys on a romantic date one day when you come to the West Coast.
There you go.
But Angeles Crest Highway leads up to a road called Mount Wilson, and that is the cell phone towers for, I believe, Verizon. But at night, it's the most beautiful view of all of Southern California.
Wow.
What we used to do was race down this hill, very tight turns, people would go drifting there, no cops, no nothing. This is before, obviously, social media.
Yeah.
I was chasing or either leading, I forgot, but I was going down the hill very fast, and then I saw a pile of rocks that probably just literally fell from the canyon.
Right
into the middle of the road, and I avoided it, understeered straight into dirt, ran into my wing west front lip, went under my car.
Rip.
Yeah, sucked. But the group of people that we met up with there, which I didn't know all of them at the time, they were chasing down behind us just casually. One guy actually got out of the car, helps me get the front lip out. And then I'm like, hey, thank you, man. He's like, yeah, no problem. And he goes back in the car and they coast away. Then my other buddy that was there goes, do you know who that was? I'm like, no. He's like, dude, that's Ken Gushi. I was like, sick. Ken Gushi. Right? I didn't know the drift world. Ken and I and all our friends, we used to hang out at a tea house called Tenju Tea House. That's where all the local Asians got their boba, all the cool guys.
That's where you had your thing, right? That's where you had your video.
No, this was at a different place actually.
Oh,
no, my lights are dying. I'm losing feng shui. No, then we all hung out, and then one day, like the group was like, "You want to go to Formula Drift? That's at Irwindale." And I was like, "I've never been to a drift event, right?" So my first invite was literally by a pro, right?
Yeah.
And then I don't know if you saw in the start of that video, that was the group of friends that we used to go to FD all the time, and prior to that, I got into photography. I was shooting all the time. I was shooting my friends' cars for free. I was doing all of that. And then as soon as I saw that, like I got literally hooked. I was like, this is so freaking cool. And we had a buddy named Cesso. He was part of the media team. One of the original media guys that basically the original Jonathan Wong.
Okay.
This guy named John P. John P got me my first media access because I used to work for Fat Lace and Illest way back in the day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
But we were all bloggers on the Fat Lace blog, right?
Oh wow.
Yeah, so that's how I kind of got my way in, right? So I would attend every year. And another fun fact is Fat Lace ran the car show for many years prior to all these other car show people that used to run the show there.
Right.
I don't think we've had a car show as much as before, but like they've had like Pit and Paddock come out. They've had,
Right.
you know, whatever events company do it for Formula Drift.
Yep.
But one of the originals was Fat Lace, and I was part of that team that parked the cars, judged
Yep.
cars, all that stuff. And I would cover it because of that, and that's how I got my way in.
That's
Damn.
really cool.
That's a throwback and a half right there.
Yeah. And I mean, you ended up, you know, becoming one of the most prolific photographers, I would think, in FD. Back
Thank
then.
you. But I mean, it's hard to accept.
You were like Larry Chen Jr. basically.
Yeah.
Well, he's given himself a couple of names on the live stream. First, it was Timu Chen, then it was what Make a Wish Chen or something, and then I don't know.
So
then you just keep demoting yourself.
Larry and I are really good friends. We actually met on a. Hopefully, I'm not dragging this on. Larry and I met on a photo shoot because he shot my old Lexus GS 430, which was they called it the Internet Breaker back in 2014.
Oh,
he was responsible to shoot it for Speed Hunters. I've known of Larry way before that, and actually we never talked to each other because at the time Larry was gaining a lot of popularity, and I didn't want to be that in a sense fanboy, right? So respectfully, I never talked to him. I didn't want to be like, hey Larry, this and that, right?
Right.
It wasn't until that shoot where he's like, hey, so this is what we're gonna do, and I was like, hey, not to like parade on this, but I actually shoot too. Let me know what you want and I'll position the car. And he's like, oh, that makes my life easy. So I positioned the car, everything went well. And that's actually when we started talking. And I still remember like there was one event at Utah, or not Utah, I forgot what track it was, but he was being bombarded by the new media guys, probably not you, but he was like, oh, I kind of need a break from this. And he walks over to me and I was like, oh, he's starting to talk to me now. This is great. You know, like, I want to be his friend. I don't want to be like a super fan, you know. But ever since then, like you know, as of recent, even when he can't make it to an FD round, I am like his pseudo replacement or a plus one to his team. So whenever they need the help, I'm happy to help the boys, Luis, Tyler K, like all those boys. And that's kind of how I have my tie-in inside Formula Drift on top of the whole Nitto thing.
Right, exactly. And I mean, shooting for tire companies, as you said, you've shot for Falcon in the past. You've done Nitto, like what's?
I've also done Yokohama too for 3 years. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So like, is there a big difference between shooting for the different tire companies, or is it the same general like, okay, we need this of this kind of thing?
So I'll give you a little rundown. 2014 was Falcon, right?
Yep.
Actually, I have a really cool piece. Hold on.
Got the Coke fucking sweatshirt on too. I didn't even realize.
I know, sorry. To my friends at Falcon, I swear I didn't steal it. It was just left in my car for all these years.
That's how it always happens.
Yeah.
So the one thing that I was like, so I wanted to get into motorsports. I wanted to be like an official shooter for a team, right? Or and back in the day when I believe like there's Jesse Lee, Lindbergh, Will Rogue, all the OGs, Sean Klingelhofer, all these dudes. I would see them wear the Falcon Alpine Star Media vest.
Yeah.
That was my dream. I want to shoot with that fucking vest.
Yeah.
This is fake. I swear to God.
This is fake.
Oh man, dude, you have
throwback.
Wow. That is so sick.
That was the goal. Like I was like, if I get that vest, if I'm able to wear that vest one day, I feel like I've already made it, right?
Yeah.
So I got to shoot FD. I got to shoot IMSA. I got not IMSA. The Porsche stuff. I'm blanking out. And I was like, dude, this is cool. But when you think of that, you're like, oh, when I get a job at Falcon, I'm gonna be the shooter and do this. No, it was actually a lot of boring stuff, right? Like.
Yeah,
they're there to sell tires. Motorsports is supplemental and on top of it.
Right.
So my first job at Falcon was cleaning the stock room of cameras. I was like, cool, whatever. Then it's like, cool, you need to shoot a tire. great, I'm gonna have so much fun doing it. Then it turned into you got to cut off all the spews off the tires. So you know the little hairs on the tires.
Yep.
I had to cut each and every one for every tire that we shot.
Wow.
Then on top of that, I had to go into the lot and paint them.
Oh yeah, with Falcon logo on the side.
No. You had to paint them black.
Oh, just to get them to really gloss shine.
The natural colors of a tire is gray and a rainbow color actually because of all the
grease and everything.
Yeah.
So if anybody that wants to get in photography or at least product photography, just know it's not like cool. Got the tire, it's all set up. Let me shoot it, make it look cool. There's 99 steps before you get to the last step.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And to this day, I still do it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So for grappler, they would just send me tires, and I'm just like, shit, cutting each one. So there was a lot of growing pains in the sense where, even though it was boring, it taught me how to do all these product photography and know what the tire industry is like. So I remember I didn't get into the automotive industry thinking that I'm going to be the tire guy. I became the guy that that happens to know how to do this. Yeah.
Wow. I definitely didn't think about all that. Obviously, like, I've seen everything that I guess I could say I'm like a late fan because I came into actually shooting FD. I mean, 2019, I came to Irwindale as a spectator, and shot a bit there, and then 2020, that was pretty much like the kickoff. I'm pretty sure it was, and that's when I started to really get to know people. I heard about you. I was like, man, I love to get to talk to this guy. And then really, it was this year when it was you and I miserable together at Atlanta, and we were the only two just soaking wet people out there. You're like, hey man,
didn't we meet on Sim before that? Was it after?
Yeah.
Okay, I remember because we talked, and that was probably that situation where what's this guy's name? Right?
Yeah. No, I knew who you were. I was like, Yogi. And
No, I remember this because I saw Herbie Media on Sim.
Yeah.
And then I was like, then I went to that. I was like, hey, I know this guy. He was the one wearing. I'm not gonna name names. A specific hat that you probably still wear to this day. And I was like, I know that guy. In Atlanta. And then anyways, no, that's super cool. And here's another fun fact. The last 3 years I've been shooting for Nitto, right?
Right.
Yeah.
The reason why you probably maybe Nate didn't know who I was because I had a 3 to 4 year hiatus of not shooting FD.
Yeah.
I knew that. Yeah.
Yeah, because I was shooting for an agency under Yokohama. So
and they were obviously in FD.
Exactly. So, but every year, Harry at Nitto and Ron and the guys would always invite me. So I would be sneaking in, I can't wear my Yokohama gear. I'm wearing just regular clothes.
Yeah.
But I was always there. But every year, people are like, "When are you gonna shoot?" I'm like, "Nah, I'm gonna have fun while I'm here."
Right.
I would actually shoot in the stands.
Yeah. Yeah, you get the extra ambiance where you're not under any pressure of capturing certain things. You can actually. That's where your art really comes to fruition and stuff, where you can just mess around. You're not you're not under the gun of anything.
Yeah. Exactly.
Well,
but it wasn't. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say, because one of the biggest challenges with photography, I feel like, especially when you have a bunch of clients and stuff like that, is you have to shoot in a way that you get the shot. You have to get what you are paid to get, and not necessarily you can't try things because there's always the chance of you messing it up, and then it's like, okay, shoot, now I don't have that shot, kind of thing. Which is why, for example, a guy like Alex Wong, who I've always been impressed with, because he does try things, and you also are very good at the artistic side of things, So it's a challenge. I feel like with photography that's a little different than, because I come from the video side, obviously, where it's a little, you can still obviously be artistic, but there's a lot of what we do in my company, it's a lot of documentation. So it's not as creative as some people.
I have to thank Nitto a lot because Harry at Nitto originally, Alex Wong is the original team shooter.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Emotive Image. To not replace him, but to take over for the program as of the last 2 years was kind of crazy because it was like, one, I'm filling his shoes. Two, can I repeat his greatness?
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, it's the
But,
imposter syndrome starts to like hit, even though
yeah,
like you just listed off everything that you've accomplished, but it's just like still, it's like, holy shit, like
yeah.
here we go.
Yeah, and the thing with that was, and this is things that I learned years ago, is that you got to do it your own way and express yourself your way. But you obviously, I want to honor his work,
Mm-hmm.
but I had to shoot the way I wanted to and impress people, I guess. But with Nitto, they allow us an open platform where they're like, we want we want shot that people remember, not the shot, not the multiple. Like I don't shoot 20,000 frames on a weekend.
Right.
Like, matter of fact, I don't even shoot other drivers unless they're my guys or if they're very close friends of mine, which I love to support my friends, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But Herbie sees me half the time, like a run's happening, I'm looking the other way. I'm just like, I want to capture what I want, and he even Herbie and both Nate know, like the moment I get the shot of all 5 drivers where I am, I'm off to the next spot.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah,
Right.
unless you're literally like taking care of the ducklings right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then you're bound. You are
Yeah.
bound.
But yeah, I get to. It's great because they allow that. We deliver what we want, and it's very hard for a photographer to be able to get to put in that position where I know some shooters, which, with all respect to them, they're shooting thousands and thousands of photos and they're delivering it to the many people on the field for, either one or many clients, and that's what they want quantity. But luckily with Nitto, not just as their brand, but they want quality, and that actually gives us more time to think about the shot versus just shoot the shot and whatever, right?
Instead of like, okay, I need another 3/4 angle shot of this car. Like it's like, okay, I'm gonna get a different shot where the smoke is actually majority of the shot, and then you're just highlighting a corner of the car or something.
Yeah, and I even got to the point where 10 years, or when Larry Lindbergh and all the OGs of FD were shooting, they're the ones innovating the whole shutter drag on, like, oh, I can shoot as low as 1 second and look at this sharp shot.
Mm-hmm.
People are so fixated, and to this day fixated on getting. I don't know how much photography you guys do, but
that's
one
where
thing
I came from. Yeah.
Okay, so do you remember that one media guy, and no one specific, but they're like, "Oh, I shot this at 1/2 a second." I'm like, "Good for you."
Yeah.
It's not about bragging. It's not. It's like, if you can tell the story with a single click, whether you're shooting at 1/8,000th of a second or one second, it doesn't matter. I've proved it on the type of stuff that I shot. Like, I'll go out there and I'll shoot at 1/8,000th. I'll admit it. I don't care. But it's the. I think a lot of people, what they do is they just take the camera out, shoot, and they go with all these settings they know in their head. But for me, I actually pre-envision the shot. I don't know if that makes sense.
You almost set like a director's list in your noggin of,
correct,
but just only for a photographer. You are the director of photography essentially for what you have to do. So you are putting that director's shot list together, which is what every professional should essentially do. And that's how I feel like that you become your own self. Like that's how you do become your own brand, by just putting those things together and taking the risk. It's like, fuck, I missed that one. It's like, all right, let's dial it in on these guys I don't really care about too much.
Yeah.
But and then when they come back around, we'll get it and then we'll move on.
And fun fact, after the week after FD, I don't ever touch those photos again unless I have to.
Right.
So I won't go back and re-edit like something that I shot like a year ago.
Yeah.
I don't, because the reason for that is I can't retain the memory of what I imagined then and there.
Yeah, what vibe that you were in, like what your emotions were, everything. Like there's so many different variables I feel like that go into actually shooting if you actually have a passion for it,
Exactly.
Like if you're
so right now, I had a Patrick PBK, the guy that paints all the helmets.
Yeah.
He actually asked me for a helmet shot of Dean, and I was like, I can jump into it. And then, like, as I was editing, I was like, I don't have that feeling I had at that moment to edit the way that I want to.
Yeah.
It might sound weird or some like weird like artistic thing, but I literally cannot.
Yeah,
Right.
no, to me it makes 100% sense. And I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure that there's other people out there that just can just take it and roll with it and don't really mind or whatever, but like there's been many times where it's just like, can I do this? It's like, yeah, but fuck. It's
Yeah.
like, all
It's
right,
not like
let
if
me
someone asks you for Long Beach footage from last year, you're like, I don't remember anything. Like
yeah.
you're probably watching the footage like, oh crap, I got this.
Yeah, it's
Right.
gonna come
Yeah.
out purple now because I'm
Yeah.
feeling very purple today or something.
Yeah,
Exactly. Well, I mean, that kind of leads into like, the shooting drifting has changed so much throughout the years. I feel like
Mhm.
just from just the speed and the quality of the driving and stuff, and I just kind of, if you can bring me back to like pre 2010 even, like what was the media life back then compared to like what it is now?
A whole lot different. The evolution of the media pits when I was like, man, there's way too many people in here now,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
So AJ Anderson was the one that was prior to Jonathan Wong,
Right. Yep.
and whatever happened during that transition, I felt like they let anybody in. You could say that I have
Mm-hmm.
a Zanga or an Angel Fire website,
Yeah,
and you're
exactly.
immediately allowed access, right?
Yep.
I
Now,
agree.
this might, and I'm using a line that Jeremy Z loves to say. This
Oh
might
yeah.
sound controversial, but unless you're part of a team or something, I feel like there's still way too many people in it.
100%.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's I see some people like kind of attend and they're like, "Oh, I got a hookup from a friend because I want to watch." I'm like,
Um,
like here's the thing,
yeah.
guys. And if you're a media guy and you're in here, and I'm not trying to be mean about it, but please get out of our way when you're
Yeah.
not shooting. If you're there to watch, please watch, but
It
duck
should
your head.
it should be common courtesy. It's like the same thing of going
Yeah.
down an
If you're
aisle and somebody
watching, then
doesn't move their cart out of the way. It's like,
yeah.
Yeah,
damn, you're
Yep.
that
but then
type of a guy.
yeah, there's just like many people that I'm just like, dude, please, like, I'll tell like, hey, I need this driver, this driver, this driver. Who do
Yep.
you need? And sometimes they're like, I'm just here to shoot. I'm like, that means you're shooting everybody, and I need to get
Yeah.
out of your way now, so I don't. So I'll get out of your way if you want to. That's fine. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But now
But
I
it's
know
like,
that you're there. Like,
yeah,
all
Yeah.
but
right.
no, it's true though. But like back in 2000, back in the early days, like was the rules way more looser back then? Was it, what were people
No,
shooting on and stuff like that? Like what was the
maybe not looser, but remember now there's more proof. So if you do something stupid, there's 20 other media people that will show proof that you did something wrong,
Yep.
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Um, I, I remember there was that incident where the on turn transition two at Long Beach, right under the bridge.
Oh yeah, the
Yep.
Mad Mike.
Yeah, yeah, that one was like, I know the gentleman got in trouble, but I think that was because someone actually saw it. Like the staff saw
Mm,
that happen, right? You know what I
Yep.
mean?
yeah.
I think
But
there was a shot outside the shot of it happening too.
yeah,
It's
and I'm
Yeah.
like,
sure.
yeah.
Here's the thing, and I'm gonna go in the way of how it would be if I was working at Formula Drift as a team.
Yeah.
If someone dies, that's not a good look.
No, it's
FD.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So everybody loves we all love to be risky. I get it.
Yeah.
But there has to be some type of caution. Yes, everybody wants the shots. Um, so as you guys know, since I shoot with Larry's team here and there, I do
Yeah.
have access to staff areas now.
Mhm.
And I'm helping Larry's team, get extra stuff, especially when they're short, right?
Right.
And I'll get people that complain about, oh, why does he get to go there? Why does this person get to go there? Now, I don't want to be rude about it, but there are so many opportunities to get great shots from everywhere. Like I said, those
Yeah.
3-4 years that I wasn't shooting for or in FD for any team,
Yeah.
Yep.
and I'm gonna quote my friend John P, the original media guy. He says, "I challenge you guys to shoot outside of the media areas. You
Mhm.
do not need media access in order to get great photography."
It's true.
Right.
It's a
I
fact.
just talked to him. I talked to him at SEMA about this, and he's like, "I said that." I was like, "Yeah, you did." I lived by those words, right? Like he was a big part of my life, and with John, that probably swayed a lot of the style of shooting. Is like, all right, I don't need to be. Was it? Yeah, the transition on the bridge and everybody. How many people? You guys know this answer.
Yeah.
How many people are in that one open pocket that gets you the direct shot?
Oh, yeah.
Herbie's like, I'm fine. I'm in my own area. I'm good.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
There is so much opportunity to get great shots from wherever, and you do not need media access, dude. There are hacks on a camera. For Herbie, you can probably tell people, oh, I don't know the answer to this. You can shoot through the fence and not see the fence.
Yeah. I mean,
it's
that's
called
just
shooting
simple.
at 2.8.
Yeah, 2.8, or just zoom in. If you got a longer lens, just put that baby up there and just get right to it, you know.
We can
But
shoot
yeah,
through a
that's
couple layers of fence and not see anything. It's great.
That's my biggest thing too. Is like, you know, people always want that crisp, clean, the perfect one. You know,
Yeah,
like
it's
the
not about
so-called
perfect.
quote unquote perfect one. You know, but
And you
like,
guys see my style of photography. I'll shoot through a freaking like a little rock or a little opening.
yeah,
Like we'll do
like
stupid things, and then people will be like, "Oh my god, you're innovative." I'm like, "No, think outside the box."
yeah,
That's all you should do. And I encourage everybody, when you're at FD, find different perspectives. Find if Herbie and both Nate shot the same exact footage and then they're standing in the same exact place, it's not different from the other 20 people that are standing there. Find different areas.
yep,
Yeah.
is
So
100% a fact. I remember seeing all the people behind the fence at New Jersey. Yeah, I mean, Jersey. I mean, I don't want to say it's more difficult, but it is just a figure eight. So like,
yeah.
yes, you can, like, obviously I would say for like the people that are going handheld and things, get your ass up into those stands and make friends with somebody and go and get some cool shots of the drivers that you don't really need, but tell the story. Like that,
Yeah.
you know, like if you're doing a video, tell that story. If you plan to make
So,
like some sort of recap.
so fun fact, at LZ World Tour, I had regular media access when I went to Ireland this last year.
Yeah.
I was there helping shoot for Chelsea, and then this was a very fun thing for me to do. And not once was like, "Hey, I'm an FD shooter. Can I shoot wherever the hell I want to?" I'm like, "No, I'm gonna respect the boundaries, what I can."
Yeah,
Right?
even at my home track at E-Town, like I know like there's some events like where Chris Knapp, thankful for, he knows that I know what not to do and my limits, and like I'll tell people, hey, you can't do that. So like I kind of get like the Larry Chen experience almost at Englishtown, but then there's other events where I know that there's so many media that if I do this in just a plain Jane regular vest like everybody else, and if I have to start dealing with other people going over there, I'm just gonna lead by a bad example. And it's like I don't need to be there. I'll get that another event or another day or whatever. It's like I'll just think outside the box. That's all.
Yeah, honestly,
That's it.
remember, just being media, that's such a privilege to
Yeah, I'm
be
there
able.
for free.
Yeah,
Well, not, outside of FD. Most of the time, it's like outside of FD. It's like to get a media pass is free, and then your attendance is free, and then just everything else. So
exactly. But yeah, big ups to Formula Drift for literally like they know who needs to be in there. They know who needs not to be. I don't know if like I don't know if you saw the incident where someone snuck onto the track at Irwindale. That was kind of fun.
Yeah. Chuck was telling the story last week about that. It was great.
So I was right there, and like I was like, everybody wants the behind the scene footage and everything, but I was like, guys, please try not to record this. Like, this is like serious shit, right? Anyways,
yeah.
Yeah.
Damn, if I was over there, that would have absolutely been in my recap video.
Well, the funniest part is when Andy Luck was like, so Andy was like yelling at the guy and like not yelling, he was like being very firm about what he's saying.
Stern.
Like, you know how Stern, yeah. And then in the middle of his like speech talking to the guy, he turns on his GoPro and it goes deet deet deet. And then I was biting my lip trying not to laugh.
He's like, wait a second, I have a thing that I can do here.
Yeah, so he's like, blah 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 deet deet deet. I was like,
oh.
That's incredible. Yeah, that is.
I told, and the funny part is I told Andy when we were at Irwindale filming the whole piece for this thing is that I was like, I don't think Andy doesn't even know this story, but Andy yelled at me the first time I met him. because when we were running the car show, this guy that I know, I won't call him out, he had a slam car. He went over the cables for the televised stuff, and it ripped the cords apart.
Oh, no way.
And he yelled right at me. He's like, "You're all going to jail!" And I was like, "Oh!" He's like, "Who told you to tell him to come this way?" Blah. They're supposed to go around. And I was like, "Oh my god, this guy hates me." Right?
Yeah.
So for many years, every time I saw Andy, I'd be like, "Gotta avoid the panda." Like, it's just like. But no, Andy is actually one of the sweetest people that you'll ever get to meet, especially when you get to know him personally. And also, huge shout out to Andy because he was the one that got us Irwindale for my project.
Exactly. You want to give people a little breakdown on what is behind you and what you just released. By the way, go check out his video out on his Instagram at Yogi. You see it's on underneath his camera there. You can see his name, but really cool thing you're trying to do over there. So you want to just give me the breakdown of what's the plan?
So yeah, this is my Sim Magic simulator. Just kidding.
I plan to be a VDC champion by the year 2026.
Oh, dude! I didn't mean to do this. My computer just rolled away when I hit it.
Was like ravioli. Cut to the ravioli commercial.
So about this time last year, maybe about a month past, but Louis Yo, this is actually his old E46.
Yep. And for those who don't know, that is just Larry Chen, but short.
Yeah. He's part of Larry Chen's team and a phenomenal photographer. And I want to say like his right hand because he's definitely deserves every praise and everything that he's done. Check him out too. We were watching Formula One, I think Vegas, from my old studio. I had it on a big projector.
Yeah.
We were watching it, and then he's like, you want to buy my drift car? I was just like, nope. Right. I told him then, I was like, dude, if I get into something, I want it, like, I'm going to get into it. I'm going to spend stupid money on it. And I don't want to do that. I have a business to take care of.
Right.
And then he came, I think days later, he's like, we're like negotiating back and forth. And then finally we ended up at a certain price. And I was like, fuck it, give it to me. So I picked up the car. And the funny part is I was so scared to drift that I parked it for a year.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah. It was just sitting at my friend's lot, and I was like, he's like, "What do you want to do with that?" I'm like, "Nothing." Like, it already had an inline handbrake. It already had a welded diff. It had a single Sparko seat, which is actually Dai Yoshihara's old seat. And he's like, "If you sell the car, don't sell the seat. It's like special, right?"
Right. Yeah.
Like, sentimental value and everything.
Yeah, I got Dai's blood sweat on my seat. Great.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, it sat for a year, and then I was like, I don't want to go to an event and embarrass myself because even like in your head, if you think you know how to drift, I just didn't know what to do. So I ended up picking up a Sim Magic setup from my buddy Chris Leakup. Sorry, I'm trying to correct his last name because I say Leakup.
Yep.
Chris, we started talking and he's like, "You should try the Sim." So I tried it out. I was like, "Oh, maybe I want one." What was supposed to be like maybe a couple $1,000 turned into 10. I have the whole triple monitor for it's set up for streaming and everything, the whole 9 yards, right?
Yep.
Position of the chassis. So I was like, before I jump into this, let me see if I can learn on that, right? So for 9 straight months,
I got ran over by Yogi.
Dude, you would think you're like, okay, push the clutch in, hold the handbrake, you know what you're doing. In Sim, I didn't even know how to drive in a straight line.
Yeah.
Right. So I started with the basics, started with the stock cars that come with the Seto, and then I started going up into like the Gravy Garage, the N style cars, and what everybody typically says is VDC cars are the hardest. So I jumped into that after thinking that I know what I'm doing. That's probably when me and Herbie started playing, and I was just hitting everybody, and I was like, forget this. I'm gonna. Luckily, so whoever gets into a Seto or drifting, there's actually lobbies in VDC that has AI. By AI, it's a ghost of whoever created the perfect line. Day after day, I was inching more forward, getting more into the door, finding out my lines, finding out my gearing, finding out the grip levels that I want. And for 6 straight months after that, I want to say that I got really good at it. Yeah. Right?
We had some good runs.
Yeah, I finally stopped hitting Herbie. And then, fast forward to now, I got invited on a private track day for a specific company. We can't say at the moment.
Yeah.
I'm not involved in that project, but they rented out the whole track, and it was only like 6 cars the whole day.
Oh,
So
wow.
ABS was 2-hour cells. So maybe about a week or two before that, my buddy Arlen, we already had BC coilovers and SLR Ultra kit, that angle kit that we got from Micah Diaz.
Nice.
Micah Diaz, we only live like 5 minutes away from each other, so I picked that up from him.
Nice.
What else did we do? I got dash bars, sunroof delete. I got it as much more as I can. Adam LZ was able to hook me up a little bit and got us a deal on everything. And also Jesse from Drift HQ.
Yep.
So we lightened the load a lot. So my friends at Showstoppers, they got me the Sabon carbon hood. Showstoppers I've known for many years, and they let me run a tab there. So I was like, give me a hood, give me this, give me that. Added another bucket seat because I just hate sliding even as passenger, so I didn't want to do that to anybody. Energy harness bar, just like all the little basics.
Right.
But nice. So this time last year, when I got the car, I was actually joking with my friend that I want to build now this is a twist. I want to build a Diet Coke drift car.
Yeah, that's your go-to normal.
Now, that was my go-to.
Okay.
Right? I've been drinking Diet Coke ever since I was a kid because my mom was diabetic. And I hate that I followed her steps, but me too eventually. But that's the only thing that she would always bring home for us to drink. Right. Okay. So I actually like the flavor. It's not because it's the diet product. I just like the flavor better than regular Coke.
Yeah.
As of recently, in the last 2 years, since I've been kind of traveling abroad a lot, fun fact is Diet Coke doesn't exist mostly outside of the US.
Really?
Yeah, because it contains aspartame, which is a banned product in many countries.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when I would get on my Delta flight or I would get into like a certain country, they're like, Diet Coke? I was like, yeah. And then they would return with Coke Zero. I was like, this is not Diet Coke. Right. They gave me the Coke Zero, and then I actually ended up liking the flavor more. So that was one. But this was still supposed to be a Diet Coke car because I wanted to tell a story. You know, the whole thing about being creative is telling a story.
Yeah.
So
I mean, you still are.
Yeah. So backtrack a little bit. AVS went great. I was able to do a full lap, my first full run, and connected the whole track based on that thing, the sim.
The sim, yeah.
Right. I did thousands and thousands of hours on sim with a bunch of guys that are actually in here. Riza, ATL, Eric, all those guys.
I know. I saw ATL in Nora lobby last night. I tried getting his attention, but it was me, Kegel, Tyler, and it was my first time meeting him. I believe it was Jason, another OG media dude. And I found an entrance to the NOLA or NOLA, I think it is. NOLA.
Yeah.
I found the entrance to the fast track. You had to drive through like this little building, like it's like a see-through building, and then there's like a cut in the invisible wall. So we were doing like
that is because every time me and him played NOLA, I see him cut through that. I was like, oh, but so I drive the R33 on VDC. So we end up on the far side, so I don't never need to go on that side.
Yeah, we were just doing 260-mile-an-hour entries last night for no reason.
So that track day went well. Not fun fact, but I told everybody to not chase me or let me chase them because I wanted to make sure that the car was still good as far as body damage before we wrap it, right? So the plan was already to do almost this. Yeah. So Larry decided to chase me, and I was freaking out. But Tyler K goes, dude, that was the best you've driven all day long. Like, you were just like so locked. I was like, yeah, because I didn't want him to hit me, right? Yeah. Oh, my other buddy Mitch too. He's a beast on the S15 and DVC. But so that's solidified. Like, all right, I want to do this. I want to do this weird freaking project, right?
Right.
The reason why I wanted to do this is because, so I run my own media agency. We have, which I have. I'm going to remain unnamed. I have, besides Neto, I have other clients that we always want to do like these crazy ideas, and I was like, why don't we just do a passion project where it's just me? Like, I'm not doing it for a company. I want to do it for me, right? So I was like, I'm going to go with this freaking Diet Coke idea, right? We're doing it. We have the design I sent it. So first I need to name off the people that were involved as far as the team putting the video together, which Jeremy Z, One Media, Ray, my friend Mike Kim, he's a drone operator, and then Luca, this guy that actually shoots for like Scuda, Ferrari, like all these companies, and he showed up, and I was like, dude, are you sure you want to help us? You're like way too good for this. And it's like down, right? And then there's my right hand girl Haley. She works with me in my company, and she was putting the deck together, the pitches together to obviously get the sponsorships for the car, the products, and everything, and the partnership. Which, dude, I owe it all to them. This was not a just me thing, right? So at Hot Pit, I already actually told Larry and the guys my idea. I remember a little, not a twinkle, but Larry kind of paused, like I was like, oh, maybe he doesn't think this is a cool idea. Then he tags me on a post, and props to this girl, Stephanie Drifts.
Okay.
Yeah.
She did something with Diet Coke.
Oh, really?
And I was like, that was my idea, right? No one's idea. Everybody, they can do whatever the hell they want. But I was like, oh no,
right?
People are gonna think I copied her.
Yeah.
Right. Matter of fact, Stephanie probably knows way more than I do when it comes to. I don't know how to tear apart an engine. This girl is like on TikTok and on IG, like, oh, I'm just replacing my motor. I'm like, yeah, I just replaced my intake filter. You know.
So, like beads of sweat coming down your head.
Yeah, no, big props to her. Like they killed it on that video, but that's when I decided to pivot.
Okay, gotcha.
That night, I told my whole entire team, I'm like, we're doing Coke Zero.
Yep.
So that's the reason I turned into the Coke Zero car. And I don't know how easy it is for you to bring up on the screen, but I was known for my old car, which is, if you go on Google, type in Yogi GS 430.
Yep. I can do that.
It just so happens that I built another damn red car, and I was trying to avoid that. Matter of fact, I hate red cars. I don't like them, but for some reason, every time I decide to build a car, it turns out red. So
did you paint the GS?
The GS was actually painted. It was all metal wide body. It was So the day that I launched,
one sec.
No problem. The day that I launched that car, my Instagram went from like 3,000 followers to 10,000 followers overnight.
Holy.
Yeah, that was the craziest thing. And I remember hearing a comment because my old account used to be like 30-something thousand followers. I actually deleted it because no one cared about my photography on there.
It was all about what your car was, yeah.
Yeah, they're like, don't care about your photography. Where's the red GS? I was like, sorry. Look at the second one.
This one?
Yeah, that one. Yeah.
Dang, boy.
Yeah, so that was the old baby. That was actually supposed to be my first drift car.
Oh, dang.
We actually tore it apart. I got a CD09 for it. We had the whole bell housing conversion for the 3UZ. We had Pat Mordaunt's single turbo setup from his SC430 that I got from Apex. Let's just say, and no fault to anybody. I did have a partner to help me out with it, but the partner had to back out last minute.
Yeah.
Things happen for a reason. That car is actually in the middle of somewhere in Apple Valley, just sitting on a farm. It does not belong to me anymore.
Wow.
I actually gave it to my friend Jameson Genki, which he's actually one of the welders over at Hoonigan. And I said, if anybody can have this, if anybody should have this car, it's you. I know if you want to do something with this, you should build it. But it's yours. I just gave it to him. It was all torn apart, no motor, no tranny, no nothing.
Yeah.
So that's living.
That thing is sick.
Yeah, that was many moons ago. But then 10 years later, freaking another red car.
Exactly. Did you ever bring it over to the East Coast for like?
Never. It was always a West Coast. Like the furthest I've been to it was with like Vegas or something.
Okay, I was gonna say because I used to go to like the Wick Fest or Week Fest or however you would say it.
Wreckfest.
Events.
Yeah.
yeah, the Wreck Fest.
Well, the whole point behind this car is that we wanted to kind of create a viral moment, right? Like, I've come from 15 years of Formula Drift. I've never drifted a day in my life, and that truth be told, I've power slid my Accord. That's the only thing I'll ever admit. Yeah. But the beauty about all that happened is I have 15 years of knowledge of drifting. I got to kind of study my favorite drivers that I can actually call friends now. You know, like
exactly.
I watched when I was simming. Excuse me, I need a sip of my Coke Zero. Um, I would study Vaughn's footwork. I think to this day that Vaughn has one of the best footwork behind the wheel.
Mm-hmm.
I watch James and why he does things, you know, like, and I think Herbie might have heard this argument from a Seto drift community.
Yep.
They think that handbraking is not part of drifting.
Oh my god, I hate it so bad.
It's like if you use
I
a
hate
handbrake,
it so bad. Just go watch a James Dean video and then ask yourself, why is he the best driver in the world? And it's
yeah,
not because of the handbrake. It's because he knows it's a tool and he knows
yeah.
when to use it.
People in the lead use it all the time, but for some reason in the sim community, people are like, "Oh, you're not supposed to touch the handbrake at all."
It's
I
like,
had
you're not a real fucking driver if you're not throwing in a backwards entry on a big flick or a feint. It's like, bro, all right, eat my farts, and I'll tell you what.
exactly. So the way I sim is, and I'll explain it after this too. But
Mm-hmm.
the way I sim is as if there is some type of like repercussion that can happen, or you have to restrain yourself, even though it's not real life. If
It's
you
a
treat
sim.
it as a video game in real life, you're gonna go into a wall, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I have to drive with restraint. So like if I know I'm doing too much, I gotta push back a little bit. And when I took this thing to AVS the first time, I remember I came to a point where I was about to go off track on a big dip, and I was like, I'm gonna mess something up.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, remember your training, and I was like, oh, handbrake, brake a little bit, and then launch off right there. So
Right.
Yep.
I learned a lot of restraint by restraining myself on that in order to drive this safely. And you know, we were going off the edge, and we were my tire was right on the edge where it was about to fall off. But I also got to see how other drivers do things, like what do they do in this situation? If
Mm-hmm.
they're going up on the high on the bank, what are they using? And you see Dean all the time. He's freaking pumping that handbrake whenever he needs to place himself where he needs to, right?
Especially in chase position where you see like a lot of other people are just, big left foot brake type people, and they're like, oh, well, the car's straightened out. It's like, well, you stood on it too long, buddy. It's like, if you actually wanted to win enough, you would just figure out, I gotta work. Like, this
Yeah.
is a whole tap dancing, like, you're a puppet almost. That's how I try to tell people. I'm like, act as if like you are literally a puppet. Your
Yeah.
feet are tap dancing, your hands are going crazy. Like, like when things are good, it's smooth as shit. But
Yeah.
on in
So
the chase,
only
if you're getting doors, it's like, holy cow.
I will say, and then again, shameless plug,
Mm-hmm.
with the whole sim magic thing and the whole learning on drifting on sim.
Yeah.
The only difference that I see, and this is where I'm saying that this translates to real life, the only thing that you don't learn on this car is fear.
Yeah.
So when I was driving AVS and then there's that long straight in the back, as you're going into it and you see those tires coming at you, you're like, holy shit, those tires are coming at me.
Right.
Yep.
Right. But then again, remember your training. Like, just make sure you don't grip up, and you just remember everything you learned.
Yep.
I am such a big believer that actually helped me drift this, is that I will 100%. When you actually drift on sim, you're actually drifting with a disability because you don't have the feeling of G forces
Yeah,
and
you're
everything.
not throwing yourself around.
Correct.
You don't feel the wind hitting it. Even if you have plexiglass windows, you still, you get that, like, you hear stuff hitting the car, all that.
And then I will say that now that if you come from sim to this or real life, you actually become a weapon, because you learned what you have so much more seat time than actual only real life drivers, that there's certain skills that you learned on sim that you're like, oh, I did this, let me see if it works, and it absolutely worked, right?
Yep.
100%.
Anyways, to move on to this thing is the plan is, it looks like a really cool drift car. It's a stock 330. It has arcade tunes in it, which Lewis did. I didn't even do anything. It's fully gutted, so it has literally no weight to it. Intake, it still has the inline. I do have the hydro ready to go in when I need to.
Right.
But for what this is, and it's barely nothing, it ripped at Irwindale. I freaking loved it.
Yeah.
Now, I want to be able to do a series where we kind of reverse now engineered the car. It looks like a cool drift car, but we want to get everybody involved. Like, should I LS swap it? Should I stick with the stock motor? If I don't stick with the stock motor, how long can we run it and get more power out of it without spending and breaking the bank, right? So I was talking about nitrous. Just run a nitrous kit until it blows, and then I can jump into an LS. I did fall in love with. So one of the big partners is Threes Racing, which is Ken Gucci shop.
Yep.
One of the leads over there, which is one of his techs, is Meng T. Meng, him and I are going back and forth on what we want to do as far as power, right? Then I already talked to Chris Eimer. He's Eimer Engineering, the same guy that did the cage on Dai's car,
right?
On the BRZ and the S13, I believe.
Yeah.
So we do want safety in place. I want a wider kit so it doesn't look all sunken in the back the way it does, because the Super Doof kit, very aggressive, but we're not running their quarter panels yet, so that's an extra 50 millimeters of space.
Yeah.
We're running stock fenders, so obviously you see the wheels sticking out, but we want to be able to do little things where it's like, all right, now that we're done with this, now let's work on the body, right?
Exactly.
I don't know if I told you guys.
I love this look, honestly. I love like the beefy front end and then like, a little skinny kind of I don't know why. I always have.
People are like, your car's too high. I'm all like, dude, look at all the FD cars. They're like, you can fit your head in there sometimes. But like we want this to be a work in progress. It looks cool. Now let's make it perform cool. Will that take a day too? I don't know. It might take a year, but we want people to be involved. And now that I spent 15 years behind the camera, this is the first time, and I'm still embarrassed of myself to do it because I hate being in front of camera. But I need to start documenting myself. I have not hit midlife crisis yet, or I think, but I'm 37. I have friends that started drifting since they were 16 when we were the same age, and I feel like I got into this very late, right?
Right.
Yeah. I don't think I can ever get into an FD and be next to a 15-year-old driver Heroia. I don't think. And here's the other funny part. Like, are you trying to go pro? I'm like, not really, but maybe pro. And the joke was, I'm going pro fun, right? Like,
exactly.
I into fun haver.
Yeah.
But if I don't have the money to do even pro-am here because I am running a business. I cannot make my personal stuff basically eat up my funds.
Exactly.
But I joked about it with friends in Asia. I was like, find me a drift car there so I can start drifting there in competitions, right?
That'll be fun.
I'll train there. I don't mind that. But as long as there's someone backing me, I think I'll do it. Now, there's many drivers that start in the Asian countries and they petition their way here. But still, I'm like, I don't want to spend $250,000 on a program.
No,
I don't have that money. I shouldn't be spending that money. But time will tell. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Exactly. We did get a couple of questions from Malik in the chat. I wanted to quick grab. He asked, the big question is which tires smell the best?
I'm biased because it's gonna be Netto. Just kidding.
Right.
No, I forgot what tire it is. I think you guys can answer it. It might be a Vitor, but it smells sweet.
I thought that was GT Radial.
It could be GT, but
wasn't there a tire that was like yellow when it was burning off? I can't remember now.
That must have been years ago.
Was it like a Federal?
Some of them are stanky, dude.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the Kendas are pretty stanky.
Yeah.
The rubber all comes from Thailand. They just put some weird scent in it.
Yeah. I think weren't we talking about oh no, maybe we weren't. I was talking about it with somebody, but like light up tires, like back in the I think it was like the 80s or 90s. I think it was Michelin or BF Goodrich that put like this fluorescent hue in their tires that made them glow, and it didn't catch on.
Oh.
What?
And then I was like, yo, that
costs money to run that tire.
That's what I mean. And like on top of it, I'm like, I wonder what material that they had to use and how much slicker the tire became or something.
Yeah.
And people were just like, all right, doing like 35, 40 around a turn, they're just pushing forward. And it's like,
Right.
oh.
You guys remember when they made that stance tire? They actually made a tire that already had camber wear.
You're kidding me.
Yeah, like it was like so if this was a regular tire, they made it slightly like that,
No
So
way.
it was already cambered, and it was the tread was actually like it had the full
Off-centered.
rating on. Yeah,
Yeah.
just
That's
for the stance boys.
oh
But
my
I was like,
gosh.
well, that's dumb, right?
Yeah,
Or
that's
whatever. But
sketchy.
I'm pretty sure that tire probably cost double just to run a weird camber tire, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. As long as you have a decent alignment, it should be okay. But
Yeah.
Malik also had another question. He's like, thoughts on creating a chase car similar to Larry's Supra? Is that ever something that you'd want to do?
I think the easier route would just to hire Larry's team to do that.
Right.
So, not that it's white labeling, but for example, if I need a pursuit car, like in one of those like blacked out, Russian arm cars,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna buy one and build it.
Yeah.
It's probably even more feasible. It's just like owning a trailer. If you're gonna own a trailer, now you got to figure out where you're gonna park it. It's probably easier that I just get something from U-Haul for the day and then only spend $50, right?
Right.
When people are spending $150 to $300 on a trailer spot. So,
yeah,
like as far as building a chase car, maybe the difference between his chase car and the setup, as far as like how they rig up the cameras and everything, is like we can all rig up a camera, right, with all the suctions and arms and everything. Yep. But he has a fast car. Well, I'm not really into sports cars. I don't know if you noticed that.
Yeah.
As far as like I don't grip, I don't need to go 100 miles on the highway. Like I'm driving on the slow lane in my Volvo. Like that's my personality. And for me, anyways, will I end up with like another 2-door like street car? Probably never, ever.
Yeah.
And if I need that, then I'll probably ask someone like, "Hey, do you have a car that we can use to chase or rent a vehicle to do that?"
Exactly. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean that makes a lot of sense. I mean, I did some chase car stuff with the GR, and it was a lot of fun, but it's also very sketchy, or it can be.
Yeah,
so
it
there's
totally
always
can be.
that side of it too.
Yeah, I mean Larry's definitely throwing up a couple videos of him like getting in some close calls. You never know what's gonna happen in front of you. You never know what's gonna happen to you. Or if there's rubble on the track, and all of a sudden it's like, all right, see you later. It's like my one buddy on a private day. He threw on like the arm and everything on his car, everything. It was raining out, and it's E-Town, and I was like, this guy's gonna spin out behind him. I know it for a fact. I know it for a fact. He's never driven here before. He's only been to this track twice. I've been here a million times. I know it's gonna happen. And he went and looped it. And he pulled back up, and I asked him, I was like, what'd you learn? And he's like, it's pretty slippery out there. Like, yeah, dude. I'm like, and you just have just a cool car. It's not meant for this type of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of like physics and stuff that go into this, especially like if you start like putting like a big boom arm, it's like that is a lot of counterweight that now like it's like, oh, people just throw it on top of like an SUV, and it's like, okay, now
what?
An SUV that makes like 600 horsepower.
Yeah, and then it's like, all right, well now you gotta like stop eventually, and then like you gotta come around the corner, and it's like, okay.
Yeah, so like for me, we have so all the rollers that you see on like the marketing material for Nitto, like just the boring cars, like we shoot like M3s or whatever. I have the whole Delta Hydra set up and modded and everything that goes onto my Ford Explorer, and that's what I use for my chase and my
for like rollers and rollers and stuff.
Yeah,
like that.
For like that's what I need, and that's my market of expertise. Is that's what we use.
Yeah.
No one calls on me to do the chase stuff like Larry, because that's his sector of the the media world, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, there are times like even like they'll ask me like, hey, can you actually just do this for us? Not Larry's team, but other people like, hey, can we rent your stuff? I'm like, yeah, we have it, and we have a vehicle for you to use and everything. So that's what I do, and even though that people see the cool side of my job as far as being at FD, if you go on the Nitto Tire website or you see their catalog stuff, that's shot by my team. That's the other 90% of my work. It's not just FD where I'm doing cool stuff. There's other tasks that we have to do. Even like those holiday reels that you've probably seen on Nitto that comes out of this place. I don't know if you saw the Christmas one, but it was shot on that wooden background right there.
Yeah, your little background. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember like how long that the grappler was coming out. The new one at least.
Oh
And
yeah. It
I
was like, come
remember
on, dude.
yeah, I remember
GT
seeing one of the comments.
first.
It was like one of the comments was saying something like, "Man, this tire better be able to pay all my debts off or something like that with how long it's taking."
Hey, all I did was provide the media, and then that's up to them, right?
I was like, I don't know, dude. Every time that they post something, like it's crazy how the production value feels on like just like it's a tire. I'm like,
Yeah.
damn, this is tough as hell. This is so good.
Well, fun fact is that Nitto is more known for their off-road stuff than their performance stuff, right? Or their PCR. So we say PCR and LT, light truck versus passenger car tire.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
The LT stuff is paying their bills. That's what people know them for. I don't know if you know this, but King of the Hammers or Ultra 4 Racing, Nitto is top dog there, just like they are top dog at Formula Drift.
Yeah.
Right.
Nice.
But not everybody's going to Formula Drift and they're like, oh, the NT55 G2 is a great drift tire. Let me get it for my off or for my street car, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What Nitto does is they prove that their tires can literally last 6 to 7 hours at the roughest terrain on the earth, and they're able to go back right onto the stage where they won.
Exactly.
Right? That proves that that's a great off-road tire, and that if this can survive this, you can go to the mall and get some groceries with it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. But and truly, Nitto is a great PCR tire as well. They make something for the like literally every application that you have. They don't have supercar stuff as far as like the 315s or whatever, but they're a solid company. Shameless plug.
Well, like, I kind of want to know, like, is there a big rivalry between the tire companies and FD? Like, is that like a thing that is on like you?
Many people don't know this. We're all friends.
Really?
I like to say that I'm really like I've been getting closer with like the GT Rail guys as far as friendship, right? I'm not doing work for them.
Right.
I still know my friend Nick and oh my god, I'm forgetting J Brad over at Falcon. We're all in a tight community together. Here's the thing: without these other tire brands, if there's no competition, there's no reason for media.
Yeah, that's true.
You even if Nate created a product and then Herbie creates the same exact product, that's friendly competition. That's proving that your product is better, and if it's not better, then you make it better. Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's just how even the car world works. BMW will make a better car than Toyota. Then Toyota will make a better car than them. Back and forth. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah. iPhone and Android. I always feel like they go back and forth. I mean, there will always be other people that debate, but yeah, same thing.
Yeah. So yeah, we're all very friendly. Obviously, when it comes to work, then that's where the competition happens. But outside of it, like we're hanging out, lounging with the GT boys. We're hanging out, lounging with the yada yada boys.
Yeah, that's interesting because, I mean, from an outside view looking in, it just seems like it's kind of a big deal. Like I feel like it's a big deal, especially if like they're working with Nitto, for example. Like there's certain tires that are pretty prestigious like to work with in terms of like that kind of stuff. So it's always wondered, like, do you guys ever like say, oh, this guy stole our driver, or like, oh, this person, oh look, we're gonna steal their driver kind of thing? I just don't. Do you guys compete for drivers in that way, or is it just kind of like?
So I'm not part of that process, but if you think back on it, when's the last time we've had a new Nitto driver besides people that enter a team?
Right.
I was gonna say, I feel like this reflects back on almost how they choose you and Alex and everybody who's shot their media before, and how they give you the freedom of they want quality over quantity.
Yeah.
And I feel like Nitto and FD and probably other places too, I'm just not as aware with those things, but I feel like they shoot for the moon and they can see where the talent is, and it's not like they're just gonna be like, would you want to run a tire? Yeah, it's like, it's like, nah, like we don't really need you.
And this is not a bash on anyone, but remember, we only lost the Tire Cup last year by a few points. But how many GT radial drivers are there versus Inedo drivers?
Yeah.
After that whole Falcon out, everybody was almost a GT driver.
Right.
Yeah.
But no, and kudos to them. They deserve it, right? They got what they did with their program, and they got it.
Yep.
But right now, like we have the weapons that are out there. They have a solid team behind them. Mm-hmm. Remember, everything is everything strategy, and every driver deserves their day, right? Mm-hmm. And dude, when we even saw Novak, like everybody, we all want to see the underdogs win. Yeah. But the fact is, some of these guys are pouring their blood, sweat, and tears into these privateer programs. In all essence, he's a privateer, right? Mm-hmm. And when you make it to that, like, it's a great story. Like, remember I told you I don't tend to shoot people unless I know them. Exactly. I didn't know Nick, but I saw the level of skill of driving that he was doing that day, and I was like, I need to capture a couple of this guy and see what happens, right? Yeah. Exactly. I even I have an inside joke with Ken, but when he won Utah, I saw a different Ken that day than any other event.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I was it's been a minute since he's been on the box like that, Yeah.
I think the last time was that Utah event, but I owe him something, but I'm not going to say it on stream.
Yeah. No, but I mean like even before Utah though. The
last one was at Irwindale.
Okay.
That's when he was crying like a baby, and I was crying with him. I'm proud of him. Again, he is the OG. He's the of the original 20 years, and he is not a Nitto driver, but I support him 1,000% of the way, and I want him to be. I want him to get a championship, just like that video of Herbie, like when he's like, "I'm no 3-time champion." I was like, "Why do you do this to yourself?"
Yeah.
And like all great drivers, but people are going through the ranks the way that they're destined to. It is hard to compete with an RTR. It is hard to compete with a Papadakis. It is hard to compete with Jerry Yang. Those guys are killers.
Yeah.
Maroya is gonna do some shit.
Yeah.
That's like how Shanahan said, you will see a different James Dean. You will see a different Shanahan next year. You will see a different Hiroya. You will all the ones that you're like, they should have done better. It's not they should have done better.
They're going
this is
to
the first year.
Yeah.
Do you guys ever watch like Drift Masters and you're like, you see the difference in drifting, right?
Oh yeah.
Like they're like ba 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 ba, but here it's just like power.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. It's a
give them. Then now that they know the field, think about it. Hiroya and Connor both were on the box and on top of the box for 2 or 3 events. Next year is going to be scary.
No, it is.
And then you got the brother coming in.
Yeah, Jack's coming as well, it sounds like.
Yep.
So, I mean, it's going to be a lot of fun to see what kind of the new people that do come are. What's his Luke Fink's also jumping in. He's a fun driver as well. But it's like they really do have. Well, I mean, there was a comment earlier about Manoa coming from the sim world. And he does drive different than a lot of drivers, I feel like. At least his driving style is different than your obviously American drivers. It's very noticeable. But I'm sure a lot of it is also just from sim driving and the way he drives the car as well.
So my theory on Hiroya is, again, if you watch FD Japan, they drive with more fluidity. So I think the one thing we all heard this year is like, he's a left foot breaker.
Yeah.
That's because he's driving with fluidity and precision. But over here, it's like sometimes you can get away with it, and it's not a judge call. It's not this, but we'll all admit if the freaking lead driver looked cool as shit, he's probably gonna get the win.
Yeah.
Right. He could probably miss a zone, and they're like, oh, but he whipped it into first outer zone and blah blah. He did a backy and this and that, and it looked good. But if he missed everything else, it's almost the X factor that doesn't exist anymore, right?
Yeah.
Hiroya is a great driver, and he drives with precision. And he's probably like, I need to slow myself down so I can make that perfect line.
Yeah.
Right. So of course he's gonna left foot brake. Of course he's gonna do this, and that's the same thing I did on sim. Is I'm using handbrake when Herbie knows the other 70% people are like, fuck handbrakes. I was like, well, you drive the way you do. And this is what I'll say too. There's nothing wrong with saying that handbraking is bad if that's your style, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, whoever did the better chase and lead is gonna win with their style.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Sure.
If you watch Vaughn's footwork, you always see him rev matching between shifting and everything.
I hate watching his footwork because I hate heel toe. Fuck you, Vaughn. One time because I hate that you make it normalized that I can't do that.
But if you watch Dean's footwork, you rarely see what Vaughn does as far as the heel towing, right?
I know, yeah. That's why I'm like, yeah, James, yeah.
Yeah, so but that's the thing. Vaughn is wild behind the feet. His tap dance work is great as shit, and I'm like, holy, how do you do that, right? And I try
insane.
it. Yeah. So
I've tried it in iRacing, and I'm like, yeah, nah, thanks, Vaughn. I just sent that baby right into the wall.
Yeah. Now, again, back to what I just said. Two drivers. If you see two drivers driving exactly the same way, it's going to be boring. I want to see two different drivers driving the way they should win.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I think too. We've talked about Manoa and his driving style a bit, and this is like my 2 cents. I think that too. He's young, new car, not his car. He's traveling from Japan to the States and having to get into this other chassis that he's not as familiar with. New tracks, new people, and just so many different things. I think that all of these negatives that people have to say about him, and like just that maybe he's slower or this, that, the other thing, like ultimately like his times aren't too far off at anybody else, and we've seen it time and time again, by the end of an event he is dialed in and going so fast. And like, yeah, like the biggest one like I think of is St. Louis with LZ, where LZ did the kickflip over the rail. And like, yeah, it that was a show, I feel like, of it just happened. That's just what happened. Both were out for blood. That's how Manoa drives. That he didn't change one thing up the rest of the entire event. He just did what he did. And it, and it's like me on this good old Logitech right here. You pump that brake a little too hard, it's like it might lock for a sec, but you didn't mean to. You just keep it pushing, whatever.
Yeah.
That's another great example. I'm on a so arguably Sim Magic is the best drifting setup, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
100%.
Herbie is killing it on a $500 setup.
$250.
I spent $1,000. But Herbie is literally keeping. Here's the thing: when I was on Logitech, I had no idea. I went on a Logitech setup recently. I was like, "How the fuck do you do this?" Like, it doesn't make sense. Right? But in the end of the day, those are two different cars. Let's call them cars right now.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Right. If you can drive your car with that much passion and the excitement.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't care what you're driving, as long as we're having fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be like, Herbie sucks because he's on a G29 setup.
Look at his front wheel wobbling back and forth like a goofy. Where is the force feedback, please?
But that's again, Herbie and I do runs together. We haven't played in a while, but we do both amazing runs together. And wait, are you on single monitor?
Mm-hmm.
And neck effects probably.
Yeah. And I sit about 7 feet away on a 27-inch monitor.
I'm sitting 2 feet away. My eyes are 1.5 feet from the monitor. Yeah. Like, that guy's keeping up as much as me, right?
Yeah.
So again, two different styles, two different equipment, two different this. Even suspension and geometry are going to be always different. They always say like the E46 E36 chassis is superior as far as suspension setup versus, and we've all heard it, the RTRs are hard to drive as hell.
Yeah.
Right? Dean had to figure out how to drive one of the best cars out there.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it comes down to skill and the love for what you're doing,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the showmanship and craftsmanship that I love about FD is because it is a subjective sport, right?
Yeah.
Even we have to question judging as fans and spectators, and being that we think that we know everything.
Right.
Even I still think it was LZ's, but even the thing that happened with Field and LZ at Atlanta,
Right.
Yep.
there's a rational reason. There's a rational reason why the judges did what they did.
Yep.
Yep.
I want to say that judges are always right in the sense that they're going off logic. The fans are going off emotion.
It's true.
Yeah.
We're even us as media people, we're always biased in the moment,
Yeah.
Like, or I shouldn't say all of us. I
Yeah.
am always
Well, I mean,
100.
like,
Nate
how
knows,
many times are we like, oh, that was bullshit, that call or whatever? Like,
Yeah,
like we
it's
didn't
like,
see obviously
man.
the entire run, or we couldn't see
Yeah,
the
I'm looking
zones
through. I'm
well.
looking. I'm staring at a screen.
I
I'm
forget what
making
the
sure
phrase
that
is.
this is in focus. It's like, yeah, man, that's garbage call. It's like I'm looking at this through S log and in a screen. It's like, nah, man.
Yeah. I forget what that phrase is, but and I'm not saying anybody's cheating, but
Yeah.
people have certain advantages that we don't know about. But until you're caught, you're not cheating,
I agree with that 100%.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Remember,
There's bump stops out there. There are certain things. There are certain little levers and things that might be hidden around and stuff like that.
exactly.
There are
Like
so many things that are in these cars that are like, oh wow, an upper hand. But ultimately, it's like a game of not even inches. It's like centimeters. It's
I remember. I don't know if I should give this information away.
Yeah. Well, I
Okay,
mean,
someone went to a certain team
yeah.
because they had a certain chemical in a bottle, thinking that it was some substance.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
To find out that one of the other teams just put a food coloring in there just to fuck with them.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
they proved it. They're like, we put blue dye in there because people think like this and that, or red dye or whatever.
Yeah.
But people fuck with each other all the time at FD. It's hilarious.
It's
Yeah,
great.
and I wish, or well, I shouldn't say I wish, because it does happen quite a bit. It's just so behind the scenes still. I think because FD is still growing immensely, I think a lot of people think that it's like almost plateaued, but I feel like the sport is still every day growing exponentially.
I
Um,
even told people one day that I wish FD would not limit the power, but they. I remember back in the day when you saw Taka Ono and his 8.6 versus like a LS swap S13. You're like,
yeah,
you know who's gonna win? Like,
yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
100%, yeah. At
yeah,
least
like
everybody now. I do get like where everything's coming. I don't want everybody, or I don't ever really want like a spec, honestly. But it's I don't really remember where I was going with that. But just to see where everybody truly has come as a team and as a driver, and all these things that they come up with, and like I would like to see more of like these cheats, like NASCAR. Dale Earnhardt, all these like big top dogs, like they were cheating all the time.
I
Just
forgot.
cheat it out, dude. What like
What
whatever
is his
until
name?
you get caught. I love Kevin. I love to see him get mad too. I love seeing
No,
him
I
so
was watching one of LZ's videos, but I believe it's Duarte. He's the one that
Yep.
reads the rule book.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah,
He
he
does.
read the rule book and he said it didn't say this or it says this, but that's
Mm-hmm.
interpretation, right?
Yep.
I
Yep.
think the only thing that LZ was called out for at Long Beach with the new E36 was the his crash bars in the rear.
Right.
It
Yeah.
was either too high or too low, and then he couldn't have red window tint.
Yeah,
Uh,
I remember that. He was
Yeah,
kind of mad about that.
yeah. Like, but again, they tried. Well, what if someone said, "Well, it's just red window tint, whatever," right?
Right.
yeah.
In a sense, that it's not. It's in the rule book, but he got away with it, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
So it all just depends because I know these guys are studying the rule book like a hawk,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
To do what they need to do. But again, I'm not accusing anybody. Don't know who would be doing these things, but I you see other teams like kind of speculate all the time. They're like, even media guys. What I think it was
Mm-hmm.
a tire rolled into the media box.
Yep.
And then someone saw something and they're like, huh, funny how it stayed on there. And I was like, oh, I don't know. I just walked away and I was just like, I don't want to hear any of this.
Yeah. There's always fun things people are trying.
But the whole other funny part is the script, the FD script. I
Oh,
love how,
yeah. How much? Which energy drink company paid the most to win?
Yeah,
it's like
that's where I'm like, all right, you guys are idiots. Like that's absolutely not real. But also, someone could be paying me to say this right now.
True. It's a double. It's the hand that keeps on feeding.
Yeah. Again, 15 years in, I was not all there for all 20 years, but 15 years in, I love this sport. I love everything about it. It's an exciting sport. I don't watch F1. I don't watch NASCAR. For me, it's circles and tight lines that I'm not interested in seeing zoom, 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 zoom all day long, right?
Right.
If you told, I actually had to Google what DRS was. Like, I was like, what the hell is that?
Oh,
I was like, yeah, I was just like, or why do they use this or this and that?
Yeah.
But with drifting, I got to see 15 years of history made at Irwindale. That's why it was so special for me to film that piece at Irwindale.
I was gonna go into that because like Irwindale's gone. It's done.
So wait, did I well,
you didn't really specify that this is the last thing that is ever going to be filmed at Irwindale.
Yeah, so the original video was supposed to be shot at ABS.
Right.
I rented the track already, paid the whole track day for myself, right? Then I get a call from Andy Luck the day I put the body kit on with Meng from Threes Racing.
Yep.
And then he calls me. I missed the call, and then he texts me. Actually, let me see if I can get the text out.
Andy Luck, man.
Missing a call from Andy and then getting a text must not be great.
Oh, it didn't feel good.
What cheats have been caught?
The most famous one's probably Chelsea Denofa gluing his tires on. That's probably the most famous one.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really know how many you've been caught, honestly. It's like, and is it really a cheat or is it a tactic? Also, happy almost New Year's.
He's like, don't ever say I fucking never called you back.
Yeah.
And then I picked up, called him back. I was like, hey, Andy, what's up? So 2 weeks prior to me booking AVS, I was like, fuck. It was one of those things like if you don't ask, if you ask, it doesn't hurt to ask.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It hurt me to ask because I felt embarrassed that I was like, hey, Andy, I'm Yogi. Can you get me a fucking track day at Irwindale?
Yeah.
Andy has such a good relationship with like Long Beach PD and Irwindale and all the tracks that people know who he is and they respect him. I respect Andy. I love that guy to death. But I was just like embarrassed to ask, like, hey, can you get me, the guy that's nobody, a day at Irwindale? Yeah. And he's like, oh, it costs this much, blah, blah, blah. This, I'm like, yeah, I know, and I don't have that money, right?
Yeah.
Oh, my neighbor's like running his machine.
I thought that you were gonna say that you got RX-7s running in the background.
No, and I won't dox him right now.
Yeah.
No, he. I mean, everybody knows. But anyways, yeah. So he calls me the day we're putting the body kit on, and he said, "Hey, I got you Irwindale," and I was like, "Dude, I already got Apple Valley Speedway, and it's non-refundable." An email later, I get an email from ABS. They're like, for some reason, Andy Luck messaged us, and we're gonna let you forgo your thing. Blah blah blah. I was like, holy shit, this is happening, right?
Wow.
So he's like, I told him that I need 5 hours. He's like, tell me when you need it. Tell me what time you're gonna show up. You need to make sure you have fire and safety and everything included. So again, thank you to everybody that was involved on this production. But my friends showed up with their trucks. They showed up with their cars. They were on standby, on radios. Like they had everything ready. Every car had a fire extinguisher just in case something happened. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Just so you fit the criteria too, that you had a safe course.
Correct. Yeah. So we did everything safe. There's no tandeming allowed because we actually had an idea where my other. Oh shit! I didn't say this yet. I have another E46.
Okay.
I saw your post today.
Yeah.
You son of a gun.
I got it a great deal, and being that we swapped everything from this one to the old one, so it could be a seat time car.
Yeah.
This one is now on reaction coilovers along with FDF front angle kit.
Yep.
And a bunch of other things that we included on this. So the other one was the hand-me-down car.
Gotcha.
So that one's gonna be that one is the one I'm not gonna be afraid to door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for my seat time car when I come out.
Yeah, no, I'm dead honest. If you have some tires, you can run it. I don't care.
I know a supplier actually. It's crazy.
The Ling Longs are only like 40 cents a tire.
That's true too. Yeah, I wouldn't be able to spin a Nitto on that thing.
I told Monrovia Lineman, they're my tire people, and they're the ones that swap the tires for me and everything on the car and align the car. Yeah. And I was like, hey, how much are NT55 G2s? I'm buying my tires. Yeah. So I was like, can you get me like 8 NT55 G2s? And then they're like, sure, it's only it's 1,000, blah blah blah. I was like, how are those Lionhearts going for? Like,
what are they? They got the Macho Muchos, right? Macho Mucho is another one. Yeah.
Like the first car we were running Lionhearts just because it was a cheap tire and I just wanted to burn some stuff. And matter of fact, I actually had 4 spare tires because my mom curbed all her wheels on a Corolla. The tires were still good and they were the same tire size, so I burned the shit out of those. Right? But yeah, we got Irwindale, and it was very surreal because so remember I told you guys that I went to Irwindale prior to that, but the car was busted.
Yep.
It was the weirdest thing. You saw Rome CP doing like warm-ups, and then my ass is doing warm-ups next to him. So you see like this really cool like BMW and then the shitty one in the corner. I remember even Slavy was looking at me like, what the hell are you doing here? Being able to warm up next to someone that great, like it felt great. Like
Westlake.
Maybe it was just like one of those things where I know maybe I'm not going to be a pro driver one day, but the opportunity to be able to share the stage with these greats, it felt great because after 15 years of watching people, actually, this was the best part. While I was doing the warm-ups right before the starting line, can you imagine that you've been standing there for 15 years watching the same burnout and warm-up after time after time, year after year, and then finally you're in the shitty car, but you're doing it, and you're like, oh,
you're doing the same exact thing. I was definitely when I saw that, I was envious. I was like, holy shit, he gets to live an absolute icon. Like, it's kind of funny
because
how much we nerd out about it, though.
Well, here's the thing. So, like, Herbie and I both want to drive someday, but we're never going to be able to drive Irwindale ever. Yeah, it's gone. You know, but you got to do it. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and even Andy was like, "Are you gonna pick Are you gonna pick AVS over freaking Irwindale?" I was like, "No, Andy, but I just spent $1,500. Like,
it's like this is hard money. This is cold hard cash."
No, but even then, if I didn't get a refund, I didn't get a refund. Sorry, AVS. Even if I got a refund, I would not care. It's just a loss. If you can't get on an airplane because you have COVID or you're sick or whatever, you have to take it as a loss. Whatever. I was willing to forego that and just go straight to Irwindale, and we did it, right? And again, if you really think about it, that was my 3rd drift day ever, and I get to do it in this thing with no skill besides that thing, right?
Exactly.
So if you saw some of the shots, we got close, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And that last shot, I gripped up because I didn't have enough. I realized that I was going into the wall a little closer than I wanted to, but in that moment where I not panicked, but I was like, oh, let me adjust. I straightened out and I was like, there's the wall. Shit. Right.
Yeah. We'll fix it.
I just didn't need it to happen. I'll crash any other day. Just I need to get this film date closer, right? Or closed out and be happy with it. Now, I kid you not, if I go to AVS or whatever track, I'm willing to go all out on it now that it's done. Yeah. The joke is that since it's a Coke Zero car, it's a Coke can, so it's gonna get crumpled.
Exactly. Right. But do you have like a favorite moment at Irwindale? Since you've been there, going to there for 15 years.
Damn. I'm picturing like Jimmy Neutron, like the brain blast, like all the numbers flying through the head right now.
Like... My favorite part there was when John P yelled at me. So the original media guy.
Yeah.
I still remember to this date. I think the situation was Mad Mike got disqualified for something.
Okay. Like
He
before
started
the event or like during the event?
during top 16.
Okay.
So they introed him, but they said that he was out. I think that was the situation.
Okay.
Then he did a pissed off victory like donut, and I was caught in the middle of it. I was trying to run to the outer pocket, or the outer zone 2.
Oh, okay.
As I was trying to run out, I was like, shit, he's doing donuts around me. Right?
Oh, dang. Yeah.
But here's the thing, as a media guy, you know that he wasn't supposed to do that.
Yeah.
So what they thought I should do was run to my next spot. But if I'm running, that's like that girl at the street takeover that's running into a car.
Yep.
So I'm like, if I have to stand here, I might as well shoot. So I got my camera and I started shooting him around me. And then John runs up to me. He's like, "What are you doing?" Like he's yelling at me.
Yeah.
And then like I think the FD staff was aware of that situation.
Mm-hmm.
So I even remember apologizing to Andy Luck, and he was like shaking his head, the Andy shake, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh my god, all hate me," right? Yeah. And I went up to each one of them, and it was enough to where they thought that they could pull my credentials.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Or how it is. If you do something, if you're fucked up, out. Right.
Right. Exactly.
But that's the most memorable. But as far as memories, every year the Team Nitto group, even when I was not part of the program and when I was shooting for Yokohama at the time,
mm-hmm.
I was still part of the family photo every year.
That's cool.
So every year, I need to find all these photos, but every year we have the evolution of the team of
mm-hmm.
who's there and who's not anymore, the people that we started with,
mm-hmm.
the people that are still there, but we all so the person that I would love all of you to learn about at some point, whatever that might be, is Ron Bergenholtz.
Yes. Yes.
He's the old raspy Filipino guy that talks
smoking ciggies. He brings his flip-out chair, baby. I love that guy.
I can only wish I can live a long life and beautiful life like that guy. Back in the day, from what I've heard, he was a big asshole. He came from the drag scene. Him and his brother, the Bergenholtz brothers, they were into drag. They built the fastest front-wheel drive cars back in the day on top,
mm-hmm.
and battling with Papadakis back in the day.
Yep.
But I am blessed to be able to be by that dude's side every event, and every year he'll stop everything and he'll make sure of it. Family photo. We got to do family photo.
I've literally heard him yelling that in the pits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every year we have to do it. He's the one that remembers it, right?
Yeah.
He might look like an old grandpa to all of you, but that guy has more energy than all three of us on the stream combined.
Yep.
I've seen him outside the hotels, I think 3 times, butt ass early in the morning, where I'm just like up and I can't fight.
You know why he's up that early?
No.
Every round that we go to, he finds his local church.
Really?
Interesting.
That man is so dedicated to the faith, which again, so myself, I'm not a very religious person because of my Thai and Filipino descent. Filipinos, typically Catholics, Thai people, Buddhist, right?
Yeah.
But since I was in the middle, I was like, I don't want to be a part of any of it if this and that. Yeah. But something that I've been doing recently with him, when I have the time and I'm not sore as shit at FD, is I actually go to church with him.
Interesting.
Right.
Damn.
I believe that whatever fate you want to believe in or whatever you do,
yeah,
it can real or not, it'll create you as a better human, right?
Right.
And the human that I learned of Ron before I met him, and the human that he is now, I feel like he's the wisest and the most. I don't have the right words. I'm gonna cry. Just kidding. He's one of the wisest dudes that you'll ever meet. And Herbie, I challenge you, and not a challenge, but I'm telling you to do this. If you see him outside that hotel, sit down and talk with him.
I have chatted with him quite a bit because he knows Moose really well, who works with now Bystrack. So honestly, I'm beyond thankful for Moose and his connections because he's worked with Papadakis, RTR, and all these people before. And him and Ron, they just shoot the shit, and I'm just little Herbie.
Ron is really in his faith, but he is also the most unfiltered guy you'll ever meet.
I actually love it so much.
I would actually love to invite him to for you guys to talk to him, and I think it'll be one of your greatest episodes.
That's interesting. Yeah.
He definitely has probably top 5 the most information about everything about this sport. I'd have to say. Yeah.
Remember when he got on that beach seat that you see all the time?
He's there with his fucking notebook. He has endless pages of information.
So it's not just the tire; it is literally the knowledge that he's able to share with the teams.
Yeah.
Right. You know, him and Chelsea go back and forth all the time when Chelsea was still competing.
Yeah.
He would be like, Chelsea, you're not doing this, or blah blah blah, commit here, blah blah blah, right?
Yeah. No.
Sorry.
I remember the first time I met him, I was like, what is this guy doing out here? He's like sitting on a lawn chair in the media area. I'm like, who is this guy? But
I'm just get away.
I know.
He knows a thing.
Yeah, nobody was yelling at him. I was like, I remember my first time in FD. This is probably like 2016, 2017, and I was like, who is this guy? But yeah, like he's obviously been around long enough, and has built that reputation.
You want to talk about level of commitment? Remember back in when I was shooting as a supplemental photographer for Neto at FD.
Yeah.
We were packing up in top 16. The trailer would be packed. None of our drivers got to top 16. They would never make it past 32.
Yeah.
Every year we would be like, well, that sucks. Move on to the next one. But you got to understand, even when, let's just say, even people at Nitto didn't believe in FD, him, Harry, all those guys still stayed into it, right? We became the great tire. We became that with all the research. We became like one of those now sought off after teams that people are now like, can I be a part of it, right?
Yeah.
Right. We've had the greats. I don't even think it was technology. Is just that we had to learn and adapt, and now we are some of the greats. These other tire companies just can be just as good, but I don't think, personally, all these other drivers, they're killing it on a GT radial. They're killing it on a Kenda.
Yeah.
Right. So I think instead of chasing like all the time, like, oh, I want to be a Nitto driver, get there, and then it's one of those things, when you get recognized, you get recognized. Now, I do want to bring up one guy, which we talked about already, Alex Wong.
Yep.
I've never, and I told him this to this day, he's become one of my closest and best friends, and I didn't even think that would happen. The fact that he handed me so actually, as of official this year, I am now the lead on this whole travel thing, right? Like
this whole past season, or
I was actually technically I was still shooting under Emotive for the past 2 years.
Okay,
that's what I thought. Yeah.
I still reported to him.
Yeah.
Right. Alex is moving on to some greater things.
Yep.
And I couldn't be more proud of his success. And dude, he's a legend. Everybody should know that he is a legend, right? And I never went to Nitto's like, hey, like when Alex wants out, I want in. 2 Long Beaches ago, he said, hey, dude, I don't think I can make it, and you're pretty much the guy that the whole family knows. Remember, the word family, I know, very Fast and Furious sounding. But he didn't find like another person that was exactly like him. He found the person that was there already. And for him to hand that program over to me as official now, it was the most, I couldn't even ask for a better honor that I was able to do this now, right? Now this is my baby. I have to take care of it.
Yeah.
And he's been doing it for the last decade. He innovated photography when it comes to it. Larry and all those guys, great fucking shooters. They have beautiful work. But I love the celebration.
Yeah, Nate's so excited about talking about Mr. Emotive that...
Dude, I love Alex, though.
Yeah.
Literally, anytime, if I ever take a picture anymore, I try to think about him. Like, truly. I'm like, how would he try to think about this moment?
That's the crazy part, is that he doesn't think. And
yeah,
I don't know if you guys know this. This is actually a funny story that I'll share for him.
Yeah.
Did you guys know that he's shooting on a broken 200 millimeter?
Yes, it doesn't have autofocus, right?
Yeah, he shoots that thing in manual.
Yeah.
My guy.
So he's gotten so used to it that that's his craft. He knows how to use his tools even if they're broken.
That's before I came to Nate. I shot everything in manual.
Yeah, and then he's shooting on a D750 or D800 now, which is technically oldest. His cameras look like they're gonna break apart.
They do,
but he makes it work. So anybody that says that we're cheating or whatever, that we have the best technology, get the fuck out of here. Right? You guys remember that I was shooting that one shot with the Rebel XT, the 15-year-old camera? Yeah.
Yep.
I got dope results off that, but that's because we know how to be creative behind any camera.
Yeah.
So when people are like, "Oh, I need double R3s or double R1s or double whatever," I'm like, dude, I shoot with the R5 and I shoot with the R3. I keep one lens on it and I shoot what I can with it, right?
Yeah.
I don't first. If anything, it's like, brah, brah, oh, I want to get the section. Brah, next one, right? But with one run, you'll probably see maybe about 30, 40 frames at max.
Yeah, and that's two because your camera takes 15 per photo.
Per half second.
Yeah, it's like you can't just take one. I feel like on your
Arguably, Alex Wong is the best shooter in FT.
I would agree with that.
Yeah. I would agree with that as well.
So I don't, and again, I might be biased, but he's my friend. But again, whoever's watching Emotive Images on Instagram, he is one of the most talented eyes out there. And even if I've seen his process, I know how he edits. I know this. I don't edit the same way. We are totally two different people. Right. But I need to show people that this is my style. People appreciate it, which I'm very grateful for.
Yep.
But that's when he passed the torch to me, it was truly an honor that he picked me, he
considered
me, and now that he's like, all right, man, here's the keys, enjoy, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I gotta say that you certainly have not dwindled that torch any bit, sir. You've definitely done a very solid job.
Yeah, it's fun, and again,
the only reason why I say when I take a photo, I'm thinking of him is because for you. He's the idol. He is the guy. You are like, it's like, all right, well, Yogi fucking he knows a thing or two about like cropping in and like and all that type of stuff. It's like, it's all about the vibe.
Yeah. No, and I learned a lot too from it's my old creative manager at my old agency, but a guy named Steven Stone. He taught me so much lessons that when you come in and you're like, oh, I'm big dog, right? He taught me so much lessons that I thought it was so not needed. But when like he even going through like processing my photos, he's like, it might not matter to you, and they might not see that pixel, but you see that pixel, right? So when I'm running through my photos, there's a reason why the overall photo looks great. If I showed you like a before and after, you'd be like, where the hell is all that in that photo? It's there. Yeah. It's just you have to really like think about it. And he's the one that taught me the phrase, not a phrase, but he said this to me. Yeah. You're not just taking a photo, you're telling a story. Correct. Right?
Yeah.
That changed my perspective. Same way that John said, you do not need media credentials or media pit access in order to get great photos.
Yep.
So,
one of my favorite photos of all time, just real quick, is from that 2019 Spectator Irwindale. And I was in the grandstands with nobody there. I was all the way highest point, and it was Ricky and Steve, Hoffman and Misko up against each other. And I was like, fuck it, dude. Like, let me see if I can get like a sick pan from all the way up here. It's not like I have to move far, but it's going to look cool with all the lights and everything. And that is one of my favorite pictures still to this day. And it's like,
one of my favorite photos was back in 2015. Yeah. It was of Odie and I believe, Piotr. Peter?
Yeah, Peter Visick. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I say Visick.
There's like 40 ways to say his name.
Yeah.
Well, I think it was his first year in FD, so it had to be later, 2017, I believe.
Yeah.
It was actually me, standing behind in the second outer zone pocket at Irwindale, where all the media guys were literally like next to each other and no more than half a foot between each other, all shooting. Yep. I was like, fuck this. I shot the longest pan straight through them that it was like one of the most dynamic shots that I did. And I was like, that's where I kind of learned to use a lot more foreground than just car. Yep. When you see just car, it's like, oh, okay, cool. You took a cool drift photo. Mm-hmm. But if you're going to add flair and personality and kind of relive that moment, right? Reliving the moment is I want you to see what I imagine in that split second.
Right.
Hell yeah.
So it's not like I said, it's not the camera, it's not this, it's not that, it's not positioning, it's not anything.
It's all up in noggin. That's really what it is.
I mean, yeah.
It's a stupid idea.
Yeah. No, it's great though, because like our industry is I guess you could say it's pretty cutthroat, but it's also we're all friends at the same time.
Yeah.
Because it's like it's an interesting industry to be in, because it is like you see a lot of interesting things from so many different people, and you're like, damn, that's really cool. Like or they shoot something a certain way. Like that was my favorite thing. Like Alex has been a good friend of mine for a long time, and I've learned a lot from him on just how to think about things differently. Like and you're right though, because in that we're able to kind of talk with each other and learn about the different elements of tracks, or like, hey, there's this really cool spot that nobody really uses, and I don't know why, but it's like, this is a really cool shot. Let's try and hit this again, or something like that. Like, and that's kind of
thinking about time of day. Like, oh, the sun's coming down here. All right, well, maybe I shoot these places here in the morning. Come over here later afternoon. Get the banger.
Yep.
It's like, oh, okay.
I remember at Long Beach when it started raining. Alex was doing this specific shot, and I know there was a couple people that I will say idolize him.
Mm-hmm.
And after he did that shot and he kind of walked away, and I was still standing there, they were like, "My turn." Like, so they did the same exact shot, but it was two different results. Like, there's no way to read Alex's brain, just like you can't read mine when you see me shooting out there. Right.
That's also what kind of back when I only did photos, it like you would see even at E-Town, tons of media people, and we're all standing. We only have X amount of places to stand, and you know, it's like, oh well, we're all gonna get the same shot. It's like, no, we're not. Like, we are, but who is going to be the most creative? Like, who actually?
You know who's one of the best ones at that? Caitlin.
Oh my, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Caitlin is again, so being that I'm part-time with staff with FD, as far as shooting under Larry's team, I obviously I'm in cheater mode. I get the cool spots, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But when you see Caitlin shoot, you can kind of see like, I now that I have maybe a 5-minute buffer, I'm gonna get like to this date, as if I was just in media allowed area, I think you guys will agree. What's the worst media track?
St. Louis,
probably.
Okay, exactly. That's what I was gonna say. You guys got 3 pockets this year. Wait, 1, 2. No, 2 pockets.
2. Yeah, they took away the 1.
Yeah, 2 pockets, and then an entry if you needed that, right?
Yeah.
From the backside.
Yeah.
But you see you'll never see Caitlin just in one of those 2 pockets. Like, I'm like, oh, she's in grandstands. Oh, she's up on the roof. Oh, she's here.
There were multiple times at that event where she was like, all right, you can watch my 400. I'm gonna run when they do the I'm gonna run when they do the lead, and then if they lead first, I'm fucked. But if
I love your her soft voice, I was like, oh yeah, that's Caitlin. But yeah, she actually, it's funny that you say the way you did, because she thinks out loud. She's like, well, if Hiroyo actually gets into the next round, I want to actually try to shoot him from here. She pre-plans the day as if he's going to win.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She pre-plans all her drivers as if they're winning.
Yep.
So that's a hidden talent that a lot of people don't have. And that's literally planning your shots.
Yep.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, she is definitely, I mean, she still, I feel like, hardly knows me, even though we talk to each other all the time. But she is another idol of mine, and just because of how hard she truly hustles and finds that different shot.
Yep, absolutely. So shout out to
Yeah,
Kaylin.
yeah,
No, but
100%.
I'm grateful for FD just because yes, I got to meet all of you guys. Right?
Mm-hmm.
We, if in some sense, we're all weekend roommates 8 times a year.
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, whoever's watching that does or wants to remember that we all have a level of respect for each other when even if I'm shooting under in an FD shirt and I'm all access.
Yeah.
If Herbie needs a shot, I'm ducking to let him get his shot, right?
Right.
yeah. He's done
But
it
that's also because
very
he also
many times.
a hoagie, and I was like, I need to get out of his way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the story is that I was just sitting like kind of like I'm kind of hungry, and then Herbie just like turns to me, taps me on the shoulder, he's like, "You want half a hoagie or half a sandwich?" I was like, "You saint, yes please."
I
Oh
mean,
shit! Now I know the right hookup though. Now I know
Yeah.
what you like.
No, but yeah,
yeah.
just everybody just have mutual respect for each other. Everybody get the shots you need, not the shots that you
Mm-hmm.
want all the time. Make it a level field. Like just respect each other when you're out there, and it's tons of fun, and you get to meet people like these dudes and everybody on the field. In the end of the day, we are one big circus.
It's true.
Yeah.
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 And we are the ones that help promote the circus as well. And
Now,
it's what were
go
you
ahead.
gonna
Go
say?
ahead.
What were you gonna say about that?
I'm gonna say this out loud. All you drivers that may be watching, please respect your media guys. Seriously, like there are many people that work out there and they're getting all the fame while the guy that got the shot for them to get that viral video is never recognized.
It's
So
true.
everybody including these two guys and everybody that works hard on that field, I went through years of this where I wasn't getting paid a dime to be out there or I was getting paid jack shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Herbie does not have a cheap camera, nor does Nate, nor does anybody on the field. My our one a 400 millimeter lens, especially if you get a newer one, is $10,000.
Yep.
And when I hear people barely not even making a dime off a shot that got these people to get where they are, I just had a discussion with my neighbor, which is, I mean, people know.
Yeah.
So Rob Don's my neighbor.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We had a discussion that it's unfortunate that people are paying nickels and just pennies to these guys that are working hard for them and they don't feel like that they are, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
No, it's
If-
true.
I'll say this: if we tell someone that it's going to cost them $1,000 for the weekend to get them all the media that they need,
Yeah.
they're going to be like, "You're smoking crack."
Yep.
It's
While on the
true.
flip side, we're like, "It cost me $500 just to fly here to St. Louis."
Yeah. I mean, it's
Right?
true. I mean, and the reality is like obviously I run a team now, and each person I bring, it's $1,000 right there.
And that
And
probably doesn't include food or per diem or
no,
anything that you need to do
no,
for them.
it's like it's just one of those things where it's like, from my perspective, when I work with all these drivers and stuff, I do it because I love it. But it's also a point where like you have to, understand that your time is valuable, and
Yeah.
that if you create the value, you need to like actually promote that. And the one of my biggest challenges is I'm friends with so many of these guys. I'm friends with so many of
Yeah.
these drivers. I've grown up with a lot of them, getting their licenses to getting to their pro licenses and whatnot. And it's like I've always been in the position where like I want to help these guys out where I can, but the other reality is I'm also got mouths I'm trying to feed too. And
Mhm.
it's just one of those things where there needs to be a mutual understanding of like, hey, I'm here to help you, but you also need to make sure that I'm taken care of too, kind of thing.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
so kind of back to this car, and like kind of the reason why we're here,
Mm-hmm.
but this production didn't cost me a dime besides feeding people. The reason why is because collectively, Ray, Jeremy, Haley, Mike, and Luca, we are all hardworking creatives, and we we're able to show what we did with our own time, right? But we did it for fun, and we didn't do it for a profit. We obviously we're trying to get the eyes and attention of Coca-Cola, which may or may not happen, but at the end of the day, we had fun with it. But if you were to tell me how much that production cost to have everybody out there fed, paid, and have some money to actually move forward with actually elevating their production, we're talking minimum 20 grand.
Yeah.
And that's not even including the track.
That's just people.
Luckily, I am blessed to have all these people in my life. I feel no one can judge. I don't think anybody can judge themselves, but what I'm trying to say is that I feel like the last 15 years I put in the smiles, I put in the genuine like whole heart that I want to be there, and I want to be part of everybody's story, that this passion project was purely for fun. Coca-Cola might ignore me for the end of time, and hopefully another company picks it up. But I want, and here maybe I'm speaking too far forward. I kind of want to be my own, in a different sense, Gymkhana.
Right.
Hell yeah.
What if I can make this fun? And I will say this, and if it ever happens, and we need more shooters, I want to be able to fly out Nate and Herbie to help us get every angle that we need.
Yeah.
I want them to be like, how much are your 7 shooters cost? 5,000 each.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, that's how much it cost me. Now, with that 5,000, I have to feed you, take care of you, make sure you get paid and everything.
Yep.
But imagine actually doing this for fun. I'm not saying that I'm going to be the next Ken Block. I'm not saying that I'm trying to do this, but I want to create fun stuff with fun companies that want to do fun shit together.
Exactly.
Right? Even if I'm not an FD driver, maybe one day I can go up to a Jim Law or Ryan Sage and be like, hey, I don't want to drive, but I want to create this cool promo with this other idea that I have at this space to promote the brand. I want drifting to be I want drifting to elevate to a new success where we are watching the media, our friends on TV on Channel 11.
Yep.
Or some type of big production where it's like
on ESPN.
Or just as much as people watching Formula One. I believe that the sport can elevate to that, but we all have to really help each other at that point where, I don't know, maybe we need a union one day. Like, if maybe I'm the rep, hey, if you want a media guy, it costs this much.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
No.
If you're getting $250,000 in funding, you can put $20,000 aside for a shooter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's true. Yeah.
This might be, all the drivers are gonna hate me now, but
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
fuck that Yogi guy.
Yeah, but I mean, it's always the thing. It's always the challenge of, doing media and drifting is always the challenge because it is always going to be saturated, and that's like the one thing is like people are always going to undercut you. So eventually, you have to create your own value to where it's like, no one's going to do my quality. And so if you're paying for me, you're paying for the quality and what I can do, and not necessarily for my price, because that's the only way to stick around in drifting. I feel like you can't just go and undercut everyone and try and stay in drifting, because eventually you're going to fail to deliver, or you're going to just going to run yourself into the ground. And not make any money,
Andy brought up a good point on his podcast with Jacob.
Yeah.
He's like, we give every drivers the same tools. We give everything that we can do to keep the sport alive. We give everybody the replays. You use those replays to make reels.
Yep.
Like, it's there, but half the time people don't want to do the work for themselves, or they're just relying on free labor, which it sucks, right? Like,
yeah, and you're going to get free product from that. You're not going to get like paid product, like you're going to get the free labor. Like, and that's different than when you're paying someone.
Yeah. So again, I'm not trying to create this big stir or whatever, but sometimes when I see people just kind of like giving their heart away and then they're getting back like a pat on the back, I'm like, that's not going to work like that. I'm fortunate enough to where wherever my career path led me, through Falcon, through the agencies of Nitto and Yokohama, and me running my own agency and studio for to help create content for Nitto and all these other companies, that I luckily landed myself where I can pay myself, even if I wasn't getting paid a lot at FD.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not making crazy money at FD, but they're definitely taking care of us, and that's what I appreciate from that.
100%. Well, we have hit the 2-hour mark, and it's been, which is crazy because I feel like I've said 5 words all show, but I mean, like, I didn't need to, man. You guys are such great storytellers. I'm just like, I'm just here with the crowd, just listening,
Yeah.
I feel like Yogi and I could talk shit for a very long time.
Dude, well, it's like,
yeah, you are the guys that I could sit down with for hours at the grid, and then we can
talk shit.
About.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
It's
like, so you see that flower over there though?
So honestly, first and foremost, thank you guys for having me. This is the moment you messaged me, I was like, well, that's New Year's Day, New Year's Eve. Do I have enough time? I'm like, hell yeah, I have enough time. Fuck it, let's do it.
Yeah, I was like,
you're 3 hours behind, dog. Shit, what are you doing after this?
I'm going home, rest with my dogs, get a meal in me. I haven't eaten today at all. That's probably where a lot of my weight loss is coming because I'm working way too much. I'm leaving to Japan on Saturday.
Oh.
I'll be there for 3 weeks, in Korea for a little bit. I know we're at the 2-hour mark, but next month, February, I'm going to Norway to go ice drifting with Freddie.
Yo, sick.
That's sweet. So Tyler, K, and I, we are both going, and we both rented a single car to share because it is so expensive. But yeah, I couldn't ask for anything more. That's why I'm taking the whole simming thing very seriously. This whole thing, we don't know what's going to happen, but definitely, and I'll keep my promise to this. If there's ever a big production day for something, I definitely want you guys to be involved along with Jeremy, Ray, and all the other folks.
Yeah.
Even if you're genuinely going to do like just a straight up private day, and if I have the funds or whatever, I mean, I'll hit up Kegel or Tyler or whoever and be like, yo, dude, you mind if I sleep at your house for a couple of nights?
It's a little cold, but I got heaters, and there's a Planet Fitness a block away.
Nice.
Like,
honestly, dude, I could sleep right in that shop right there, right in that chair, right in your right.
Oh no, I have a nice one. I have an offer for you. This is an open offer for you guys. If you ever need a place to stay, just stay here. I'm not even kidding. But no, thank you for having me. For anybody that's still watching, we still do need your help.
Go on the where can they go find the post, and where can they go tag Coke at?
It should be pinned, and I think you'll know which reel it is. It's like kind of near 90,000 views. But every day, if you're taking a shit, you're doing whatever, keep tagging Coca-Cola. I'm gonna annoy them until I get that.
Do you want me to tag Coke, or do you want to tag Coke Zero? Is there a difference?
So quickly too. Sorry, a lot of information. The reason why for the pivot too is that we realize that Diet Coke does not live on the Coca-Cola brand Instagram.
Really?
Diet Coke only has 134,000 followers. Coke Zero lives on the Coca-Cola brand page. They do have a Coke Zero Instagram, but it also says in the profile, we've moved. Pay attention to Coca-Cola.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, because since Coca-Cola is a global brand, Diet Coke is not a global product.
Oh, okay.
Oh, makes sense. Yeah.
So if you were to tag Vanilla Coke like you have over there, you would still tag Coca-Cola.
Ah, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
My regular Johnson.
Yeah, or the regular. But yeah, that's why we're like, if this does reach the audience and they do say, hey, we want part of this, and they decide to repost it, that's 3.1 million followers that they have. So instead of shooting just for the sky, we're shooting for the moon at this point. So that's the big reason for the pivot. I do drink it every day. I don't know if you can see it. I'm going to try to rotate this camera. You see that stack of Coca-Cola cans in the corner? I drank that all in 2 days.
Yeah.
Oh, shit, yeah, actually.
I have my own share of Coke and beverages over here as well. But as such is life. When I my sleep schedule is totally screwed up. I stay up till 2 and wake up at like 8:30. So.
No, he's up here.
Herbie,
thank you for having me. Let's keep doing this. And again, I actually do want to, even if you want me to jump on with him, let's see if we can get on here.
That'd be cool.
I think that'll be a fun episode, and you'll learn a lot of wise knowledge from a really dope and wise man.
Yeah, well, I mean, thanks for reaching out, because it's like, I had no idea when I first started doing this. I was like, maybe we can go invite some friends and like see what happens. But like, I've had a bunch of people like you obviously reached out. I had another person reached out to me today about it. I was like, I didn't expect so many people to like, want to come on, but it's a new thing. It's a different style where we're actually live. Nothing's cut. We're just shooting the shit, and it's great to get community involvement on different people that we talk to and stuff like that. So it's like, it's a really fun thing to do.
And we also all hate Chuck, right?
Exactly. Well, that's
like
that's half the reason this exists, is just so we can talk shit to Chuck.
Wait, sorry. Before we leave, it was funny because in Jersey, I went live on Instagram while I was editing, and he's like, I think you're at the same hotel that I'm at. I'm like, how do you know that?
How do you?
A minute later, he ended up in my we were just both editing together, and then I was actually showing him some tips and tricks, and then he was just like, "What? That's how you do it?" I'm like, "Don't share this information with anybody."
Dude, yeah, Chuck's awesome though. He was obviously he was on last week. He was a great riot. I mean,
yeah, just don't shave your mustache for Chuck.
Honestly,
exactly.
I couldn't imagine him at this point without it.
No,
even though I feel like I met him without it.
I feel like I did too. It's just like ingrained in my brain now. So it's like
now he's so much military style with that big old fucking caterpillar on there.
Yep.
That's your trademark. When you're without it, I'm like, who the hell is this guy?
Exactly.
Yeah. That's why if I was to try to grow my hair back out, everybody would be like, "What the fuck?"
Wait, do you actually have hair up there?
Yeah, I haven't shaved in 3 days. It's coming back in.
Yeah, but are you balding? Because I'm totally bald.
No, it's just I've had a receding hairline since I was 17.
Okay, well at least you have hair because there's no capability of this going out.
Wow.
Yeah, no, I could definitely still grow it, but the problem is now, dude, it comes in black.
What?
Like
Isn't
it's
that
very.
I'm showing grays already.
It's very dark. It's not very red like it used to be.
Well, don't do it because I can't imagine you with hair anyway. So if you show up to a picture with hair, I'm gonna be like.
Not gonna lie, I plan to have shaved and looked a lot better before the stream, but I decided that, like I said earlier, I think off stream, I was like, man, if I don't make fucking Bistrack a recap video, I would be
in trouble.
Not in trouble, but more so in trouble with my own brain self. That I would have been like, that's my best friend.
You're gonna see a permanent note.
Exactly.
Anyways, let's end this so we can get you guys your dinner for the night and you can celebrate.
Dude, we already ate, dog. What do you mean?
Herbie, what do you got going on? What are you doing nowadays? Editing?
I have actually a sim comp on Sunday.
Uh-oh.
Ooh.
Yeah,
let's hear about this.
Me, Tyler Capper, Peyton.
Okay.
And I believe Kegel and my buddy Sean, we all entered into the $0 entry fee, $60 to win, BDC tournament. So it's at US Air. It's a different type of layout. I'm not the biggest fan of the layout, but I put in about 9 hours yesterday onto driving this track. And
there they are. Got them all stacked up. Let's go.
Well,
but yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I think
is it gonna be streamed anywhere?
I think it is put on by Lone Star Drift.
Okay.
I think it should be streamed. Let me double check.
Yeah.
Let me look at Tyler's
Wait, when is this?
Here. This is Sunday.
Oh shit. I'll be gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, well maybe you could watch. Maybe you could watch me and Tyler is the second run.
Is he?
I think, apparently. So he says.
Well, if you need training, we can do it tomorrow or the second.
Wait, where am I? Where's Herbie Media?
Uh-oh.
He kicked you out. You're in top 64.
I don't know how this works. Hold on, I'm looking.
Oh, this is the awkward moment when he finds out he was actually uninvited.
Right? No, I'm trying to fucking... Because they told me last night, they're like, oh, well, you're here. Oh, I am number 8. I'm against Nate Dogg's net. Oh, dude, I'm against Nate Dogg. He stinks. I'm sorry, Nate Dogg.
Oh man, that's amazing.
You got that Matt Field level of confidence right here, huh?
Yeah, bro. I'm gonna talk my shit all the time, dude. I don't care if I'm going up against fucking. There was another dude in there that was really good. His name is Ferbs. I don't know what his actual name that he signed up with, but his Aceto name was Ferbs, and I followed him. And I was like, oh my god, that's a good line. And then I led one. And I was like, wow, that was a good lead. And I was like, oh my god, he was on my ass the entire time.
Well, good luck.
I'm like, oh my golly, dude. I hope I don't see him anytime soon. So yeah, I am. I don't see. Oh, I have a Discord link actually.
There you go.
Continue Discord. Let me just see. I don't think I ever actually joined it. Yeah. Want to take full advantage. I'm just trying to see if there's a live stream. I will be competing on Sunday. Oh, also, VDC first competition this Saturday, Friday, Saturday. Everybody should watch it.
Oh yeah, round one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, at Riga, my favorite track ever.
That is my favorite track on the Aceto.
They made it the long way, which is also my favorite, even more favorite track. A lot of people are like, oh, this is so new. It's like, nah, man, I have an old layout of this track. I love this place.
Right. Yeah. No.
Okay, I'm gonna head off too because my wife is probably like, where the hell's my food?
Yeah, right.
I meant to ask that before. You are married. Yeah.
Yeah, I am married.
Yeah, there you go. All right, guys, we're going to end it off here. Again, thank you for watching. Yogi. If you liked it, be sure to subscribe. Thank you, Yogi, for coming on. Thank you, Herbie, for taking your time. And